welcome back, everybody, to another week of the Upsurge Premier League. I am your host for the evening, as always, Ravishing Rabbit's the most ravishing man on the internet. I said a B with my V, and that's okay. It's my accent. If you get mad at me about it, it's not cool.
I agree.
Thank you, B-Town. Who I have beside me
I got you.
is my main man, B-Town Boulevard, my main analyst. B-Town,
Yo, what's
I
up?
know you said you wouldn't do it, so I'm going to put you on the spot. Where does
I
your name
knew it.
come from? And sing it, please.
Okay, you know what, Ravi? Just because it's you, I will sing the song one time and one time only. This is the only time this will ever happen on broadcast, and it is a song from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So real quick, I really hope you can hear me snapping because it's really crucial. Because the song goes something like, "Beat down Boulevard's the toughest street in town, and if you step to a gangster crew, you're bound to get beat down. Ho 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 ho! One time only."
Thank you.
You're
Make sure to
welcome.
clip that, say that with yourself. And for anybody asking where he gets his name, there you go. That's right.
I'm not a violent person, I promise. It's
his pictures will say that very differently about him.
Oh my god. Listen, just because I like to hit inanimate objects and not people, I'm suddenly a bad person. That's crazy.
Speaking of people, we have our guest tonight with us
We
as
do.
well. That being Mr. Prussian himself. Prussian, you do far too much. What are you working on right now?
Well, you're gonna have to pay attention on Twitter. But other than that, I mean, I'm flattered to be here on such a talented desk. I didn't know there would be a musical number. I would have came prepared with my own material, but you guys are kind of, leaving me incapable of showing my own talent.
Understandable. You can show your talent elsewhere when you talk to us about the draft of the game, because when you speak words about League of Legends, they sound good in my ear hole. So congratulations, you've done it. Which makes us crash across the board. But moving on forward, right? The match that we have tonight for you all is going to be AOE versus Blacklist yet again. Now, we've seen both these guys on stream multiple times over. AOE, we just saw, I believe, just last week, where they took ISU to 3 games. ISU played Vlad 3 games as well. That's also why it was 3 games, in my personal opinion, considering it was Vlad mid twice and it was a Vlad top once. So bear in mind, there was also Kaisa in that game with over 30 kills beat done, if I remember correctly.
It was pretty close to 30 kills. It was pretty gross. Like that's the kind of performance where if this was solo queue, you are flaming your teammates. You don't play ranked for a week after that because you just played out of your mind. But I don't want to talk about ISU because they are not here. We're going to talk about more on AOE side of it on that specific matchup. Because yeah, sure, wasn't the greatest drafts from ISU, but I still think AOE Brady, the game that they won, was a really good performance for them. And I think they played well every game as well. They were really smart about how to utilize their winning matchups. For example, they were playing into a very squishy bot lane, and Seraphine, and it's not coming to me, but it was another squishy champion. The point is, you have Zaya Galio, you have Hecarim, and they dived that mother on repeat. And being able to find these leads early on is a super important thing. And you see an example right here. It's such an easy taunt, such a clean dive. Hecarim didn't even need to be there. Oh wait, nope. My eyes deceived me. Clam was in that clip. But the point is, they played around their strengths really well in every game that they played, even though they didn't win every single one of them. So I think that's why they are still looking to be the stronger team coming into tonight, especially if we just look at these laners pound for pound, one-on-one.
And honestly, Prussia, before you go on and make an actual good point, I just want to point out right off the board is that I would be doing a disservice if I didn't point out that we have Robert Bobbert playing in our game today. So for all of you in committed relationships, hide your SOs. Because take the away from the screen and go somewhere else for 2 hours, because I cannot promise your relationship status by the end of it after they see my man Robbie Bob play. But Prussia, go ahead.
That's true. And the first person I was going to jump on would be Robbie Bob. I've got to agree with you that he is a bit of a stud in the middle lane. And something that I'm really looking forward to from this match is how he compares up to Omli. So the thing about these two mid laners that I know about Blacklist is that they like to flex the zigs between bottom lane and mid lane. And Robbie Bob on 11.9, Xerath just got buffed. And we could actually be seeing 2 artillery mages being played in the middle lane between Ziggs and Xerath. And I think that those kind of matchups aren't really common in this sort of meta when we're seeing things more like Orianna, even melee champions dominate the middle lane. So between these kind of champions, I think that the Xerath buffs have affected his middle game and later game scaling more since they're ratio buffs. And while he might not be capable of getting priority as easily because of the Q base damage decrease, I still think that this champion is definitely really threatening from Robbie Bob, especially since he has his longtime partner by his side in Clam Sparkle. So I think that the mid jungle 2v2 for AoE is definitely really threatening, and especially when you're looking towards players that don't have as expansive champion pools like Johnster.
And the thing too that makes
Oh, I was gonna say real quick. You know what, Beta, you go ahead first because you also make good points, and I like your face.
Thank you. Oh wow, shoot. All right. So the thing I wanted to just jump off your point too, Prussian, was that the interesting thing, despite the things you say about the mid lane changes, how Xerath and Ziggs are available, when you think about on this current patch too, the junglers that are extremely strong, a lot of them are AP as well. You think Rumble, you think Morgana. So the mid jungle 2v2 for that reason is also going to be interesting. It makes me wonder what kind of draft we're actually going to see here. Maybe more AD focused champions on other roles, or maybe we still do see AD mid laners for AP junglers or vice versa, because we've seen both Robbie Bob and Omni play those AD roles, like Lucian, for example, which I think Omni actually played in their match last week against ISU. So I'm curious, especially because I agree that's the strong suit of AOE, but I also think it's the strong suit of a Blacklist here, and how they're probably going to have to win the game as well. And I think all things considered, I really hope they're starting on red side, because I think they need to kind of help Omni get a good mid lane matchup. I'm finding out that AoE will be on red side, so rip the dream.
Unfortunately, all your points are null and void. Real quick before we move on, as right now, like you are talking about some of your champion pools and what we might see. We do have the disabled listed again for y'all. Go Hyper. We can see that again. ASAP. What we see, and we have them back in game. They have been enabled. Riot Sama has decided that we get to play almost the entire full roster. So, Brita, I will ask you to use your Go XLR again. Of course, Jace, like you mentioned, almost all of them. Jace is still disabled due to his exponential bug where he nukes people. But Gwen, Viego, and Rammus, we said it before 1,000 times, Gwen and Viego enabled at the exact same time. This is insane, by the way.
Yeah, and the thing I find most interesting about it too is that, and I've been saying this for a little while, I think people are going to forget how good Viego is as a champion and how just absolutely busted he is too, because of how long he's been disabled. But I wouldn't be surprised if we have seen that come out tonight, because I just talked about damage profile between your mid and jungle. Well, a good example of an AD jungler would be the Viego, now that he is finally allowed to show himself on the Rift here. And I think that's we haven't seen any champions like this from Johnster in the past, even as close as last week. But I think that's something we need to see from Blacklist to give themselves that strong 2v2 matchup there. Some really strong pick on this current patch.
That's true. Between Viego and Gwen, I interpret these two champions as mostly probably going to the top lane. You have to think between Solidified and Orisies. Both these players are mostly Fiora players, mostly melee carry players. So true. I would not be surprised to see Viego in the top lane for either player. I definitely think it would fill the niche of how both of these players tend to play. Gwen, similar in that regard too.
Could even see Viego mid.
Yeah, I mean, potentially. I mean, Robbie Bob, he has a pocket Yasuo, so Viego isn't that much like more stupendous, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I can't remember the last time I've ever actually seen a Yasuo in competitive play. It would make my heart a flutter to be able to see the champion right now. But what they were saying before, right now, Prashan, you were mentioning this too. You were talking a little bit about just the mid jungle, mid jungle synergy.
Trust your gut.
Saying between both of these teams, right? But especially alongside of AOE too, going with the fantastic duo of Clam and Robert Bobber himself, and how well they work together, and just how much he plays towards him, which we know on the other hand, Blacklist can offer as well.
That's true. I think between these two teams, I think mid jungle is definitely the area to watch. In my opinion, Robbie Bob is much more I think both players are really control mage oriented. And I think, as Beatdown was mentioning, the fact that the top junglers right now, we're thinking about Morgana, we're thinking about Rumble, maybe even Diana still. These champions are absolutely busted broken. They clear super fast. They scale really quickly. Their items are relatively cheap because most of them just go Proto Belt, and Proto Belt is overtuned right now. I'm definitely looking towards these physical damage champions in the middle lane, and I'm not super certain about how Amelie's champion pool looks like, but Robbie Bob has shown physical damage options in the past, and I'm wondering whether we're even going to see these physical damage mid laners at all, since of these mid laners' propensities to play control mages more so.
Yeah, definitely. So considering that both the millionaires do definitely have very similar champ pools, right? Which I remember you both and Prussian and Beatdown was also pointing out as well, right? Considering how much they can how much they can play and bring into their overall game styles. The pools run deep definitely, and I want to say that we're trying to go for a scuba dive, but we might be struggling and staying on the shallow end considering how the meta has been shaping up to be just recently, right? But gentlemen, let's look at our predictions that we have across the board. Let's see it flash up right now at the bottom of the screen. So let it be said. So let it be said between both of us. So just so we can find out. And would you look at that? All of us have AOE going 2-0 up against Blacklist. Now, Victor, I'll come to you with this. Quickly tell me your prediction of why you copied me again and why.
First of all, we all know I was the first one to send it to Hyper, so we're just going to ignore that one. Anyways, 2-0 AoE is my call, even though I think the mid-jungle 2v2 is their strongest thing, and I specifically am into... I do like only as a mid laner, because I think he's actually a pretty good bright spot on the team. It's like Prussian said, it's Robbie Bob. He's really strong, really... experienced player in the mid lane, and if you just look pound for pound against all these laners, AoE's just better.
You know what? I actually talked to Clam just earlier today as well while we were talking about a bit of seed law things back and forth. So I'm pretty excited about him. I've also seen him I've also seen him dance a little bit too. So I'll keep that a little bit in the back pocket until y'all can see that come out.
It's
but
really
like
specific.
I am. I know. That's why. That's why it's gotta be a little bit key on that. And I'm excited for what AoE is able to bring out today. With all that being said, here, gentlemen, I do want to get across one last thing. Is Hyper confirmed that I got in my prediction first, so take that. Aha, copy me yet again. Give me the points already. We'll move over to our Cassius, Mad Magical, and Chilling Walk for the night. Cassius, take it away.
Hello, and welcome in to the caster desk. I'm Mad Magical, joined in by the one and only annoyed Chilling Walk over here. We're getting ready for an exciting matchup tied 2-2, Blacklist versus AOE Brady. Even though the desk all said 2-0 for AOE, these two teams are tied in the standings right now. This could be a far more even matchup than they're alluding to.
I mean, they definitely are tied, Alex, but the one thing that we got to mention is that AOE Brady, when they played against ISU, they're the only team that took them to 3 games, man. So if AOE Brady is on lock tonight, I am down. But I got to make a quick little side note, Alex. I did not know Clam dance. Ravish, I appreciate you doing some research, because now, Clam, I'm like, yo, Clam, if you win this, I want to challenge you to a dance battle, bro. I dance, you see me put on some moves. Ooh, you got to make sure you can put on some moves tonight on the Summoner's Rift.
I feel like Clam would beat you, but you know what? We'll have to get to that later.
Come on, bro. Alex, you don't be saying that to me, man. Right now, first off, I'm the best dancing commentator right now we have in the entire amateur scene.
That's not saying much.
That's saying a lot, bro. Come on, let's be honest here. Let's be honest, man.
No,
I want to see if Clan can bring it to the heat.
Oh, yeah, sure. You know, but I want to talk about the teams. I'd rather talk about the teams, less about
Let's
you.
do that.
They're more interesting anyways. We look at these teams, and
Come on, bro.
AOE... I love you. You know that. But talking about these teams, we look at AOE Brady. I'm kind of glad you mentioned Clam, because this is a player that we were really excited to see initially. He's coming in from Purdue. We wanted to see how he was going to be able to perform, and unfortunately, you and I did not get the opportunity to be able to cast him. But now, Are you serious?
Man... Oh, we just got notified that Clam is unable to play tonight.
We are
My
jinxed.
God.
We are cursed. when it
I
comes
want to
to
see this
casting
guy
for Clan.
perform.
You and I aren't allowed to, apparently. It's just how it works. But you know what? That might make this a little bit more even. Now we'll have to focus on to the other two players that we were talking about that we wanted to talk about. Robbie Bob, Vex versus Omely and Nightstar. Robbie Bob, obviously a veteran player that we've seen countless times, but Vex has also been this player that has really been performing and looking amazing. Even though there was the game, I think, the other day where they did lose the game 1 against ISU. He was 19-6 on Kaisa in that game. He was a terror in that one.
He was, and especially in that game, like in that game 1, as you said. The only difference on that game 1, they couldn't close it out because they were dedicating way too many resources to sham on that ISU squad. Game 2, though, find mad punishes against GFP, which I really appreciate in that game too. But going back into the rest of the squad, I gotta wonder how they're gonna be performing without Clam, because we were there when we commentated AOE Brady without Clam. It was a whole different ball game. Yes, they have improved since that week 1, but we gotta see if they can maintain that improvement with the change of a jungle. This is the early game. Jungle right now is all about full clearing, all about making sure you set yourself up for facilitating those team fights. If Clam ain't there, that's something I gotta wonder, because that boy is young, has some young talent right now in the current collegiate scene. Raw. Lee Sin player, but is able to play a lot of these other junglers currently in the meta, and especially in this meta when you could play Morgana, you could play Diana, you could play frickin' Rammus and everyone else. I think, man, I wish I could see kind of, you know, I'm this right now. I'm this right now, Alex.
It's appropriate your attire for today, but you know what? It does let us talk a little bit about kind of how maybe Blacklist might be able to win, because Johnster on the other side is someone who likes to play for a lot of these early kills. He has more first bloods than, you know, Clam does, even though it's only 2. It's not necessarily a lot, but he tends to try to play aggressively early on, looking for these early skirmishes, and that could be the opportunity that maybe we can see coming in from them to be able to punish Brady, to be able to find themselves these early leads, especially since Clam is this player who's usually so dedicated to being able to control the map and control the pace for the side of Brady, that might be able to have them slip a little bit and lose control where they normally would find strength.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because remember that knowing that Clam is off the table, it means that not Draxler. It means that Johnster can do his thing. And assuming that Draxler is going to be stepping in, who is the coach stepping in and subbing in for his juggler, that's where we got to wonder how Johnson's going to play this, because even though it is a solid reward if Johnson managed to pull it off, the thing is that you got to change your game plan now. You know, if I'm Blacklist, you got to figure out, how's Clam. We were so used to Clam clearing it this way. How's Drax going to do it? And of course, he's a coach, but Drax can make some change ups in this overall early game. And I know we talk about Drax, we talk about Johnster, but you know, Johnster, even though he gets those early game going for the team, he's also not the best when it comes to the later stages of the game. He's not really facilitating these fights, facilitating for a squad. So you have to depend on him to be that early engine. If he gets off, though, I'm definitely down to see Blacklist take this game 1.
As am I. And I'm really excited to see how they're going to be able to play this one, because I feel like this might be their opportunity to be able to punish, since Blacklist did start off the season a bit rough, where they were able to win, I think, their first series up against Crystal Cave Gaming, but it was a rough victory, and then immediately losing to ISU and to AOE Brady in 2-0s. So now this is them trying to resurge a little bit. They've gotten a little bit more comfortable in how they want to be able to play, what they want to be able to do, who they're going to really be able to put a lot of resources in. And this is why I had mentioned Nightstar before. It seems that they tend to put a lot more resources into Nightstar, into the spot lane, and having him go up against someone like Vex, who also tends to get a lot of resources, this might be where the battle of the bot lane, the hyper carries that we've been seeing coming in as the season progresses in a Season 11, might be really what dictates the pace.
Yeah, I'm honestly down to see that, man. Vex has been showing up, especially that last week against ISU, especially in that game 1. He's been putting up some pretty good numbers. But the thing is that we look at Blacklist and we look at the way they play. Johnster, he's not really facilitating those later stages. And 2, we take a look at their overall records. You know, Blacklist lost him in the first half of Upsurge. This is the second half now. If you want to make sure you tie it up, you have to show up today. It's definitely unfortunate that AOE Brady are missing out Clan, because if I'm Blacklist, hopefully you make sure this works out for you. Hopefully you make sure that you can play the way you want to play. Make sure Nightstar is the late game carry. Make sure Johnstar is that early game engine for your squad. And if that works out, you know, Blacks could definitely look to take it.
as now we jump into draft, we're going to see how they're going to be able to adapt to things. This is patch 11.9. The desk did get to talk about how we're going to see 3 champions that we haven't seen in some time, 2 new faces, and 1 old one. This could be something picked, but I'm feeling like that Morgana is really going to be the critical pick. Probably going to be banned. No one really wants to see that played because how fast her clear speed is.
Another thing too is Diana too. Magical, like this champion's kind of running rampant in solo queue right now. You put 2 kills on that champion, she can basically take over the game. But last week we did not see AOE pilot any of these other mage champions in the jungle. Clam was rocking Hecarim the entire time, and now that's where we wonder, you know, if one of these junglers have pulled it out. And maybe the Dragster wants to pull out. He is the coach at the end of the day. You know, if you want to lock that in, I'm definitely down for it. I want to see some change in the jungle right now, knowing that we're at 11.9. This is the MSI patch too, by the way. So whatever we see here could be a replication of what we were seeing on the midseason invitational.
Well, except for Viego and Gwen.
Except for Viego, yeah.
Those 2 won't
Viego
be
and Gwen.
allowed just because they hadn't been played in any of the playoffs leading up to MSI. However, for the most part, everything will be allowed. Right now, we are seeing Shen, Rumble banned away. Rumble we've actually been seeing banned pretty significantly on this patch as well.
I'm honestly loving it. Rumble, of course, got a big buff in the jungle. Mad love, man. That passive, and then single target damage. Ooh, it's real good. Feels real nice getting that attack speed too. I understand why it's gonna be banned away. It's also just a great mid-game spike, and it works well for Johnston, man. You talk about a champion. You talk about a player who wants to get that early first blood. Rumble's one who could actually do it compared to a lot of these mid lane, a lot of these jungling mages currently in the meta so far. So I appreciate that ban from the Brady team.
There it is. Morgana banned 2, taken away.
There you
Not
go.
really going to have to deal with that. But I'm really curious to see what else we might be able to see kind of rise up and pick through, because when we look back at the history of what a lot of these players have been playing, especially since we have Draxler kind of stepping in, he's been playing things a little bit more consistent for the team to be able to help out everyone else, as opposed to what Clam tends to do, which is that early aggressive style, something that tries to really control the jungle, to control these skirmishes. He's more trying to set up everyone else on the team.
Yeah, I think this is the second time we see Draxler subbing. So the first week it was they were a fresh new roster. It was kind of it was against ISU too. So just kind of expected that, you know, they were just kind of getting their wheels together to make sure they are a solid vehicle. But Blacklist, I like this banning with Diana. It also doesn't mean that Johnson doesn't play it. Surprised. You know, this is a champion that has been running rampant. Like I said, love this champion. Great team fight champion that works well and does mad loads of damage. Gonna be removed off the table. And the next one, now with all the mages gone too, we're gonna be wondering what that last ban is. Getting word that
it's not Udyr.
It's not Udyr, yeah.
Hopefully get the... Oh, it is?
Oh, okay.
I got
So-
confused by our production. But
Okay.
we got baited. It is Udyr, but now we're going to talk about what else has been left through. I mean, right now, I'm actually more surprised that we did see the Diana ban. I feel like she's a good flex that you can take. You don't have to just dedicate her into the jungle.
Yeah.
You can always put her mid lane. I've heard that she's a Terra mid lane as well. But with the bans towards the jungle being really the high priority for both teams. Tristana has been left through, same with Kai'Sa, something that can be taken away. But I'm also looking towards things that have been pretty standard meta for quite some time. Even if Hecarim did get a bit of a nerf on this last patch, it's not like he's completely taken away. Yeah, I've seen some players still fall back onto him because he is still a reliable source king.
Yeah, it could definitely work out. Whoa!
Oh, baby!
Okay, we're gonna see a Gwen today.
Let's go.
All right. Now, just to shine a little bit about Gwen, 100% a top planer. Can't work in the jungle. Can't full clear as fast as the other junglers right now in the meta. But this is also a blind Quinn, and you know I've been doing a lot of research. You know, Quinn definitely has a little bit some tough matches, but she's still kind of a mystery. You can run Lethal Temple so you can help yourself better in the lane. You can run Conquer so you're better in the later stages. But it's all dependent on that snip, man. You got to make sure you can actually thread those and threaten that when you're trading within the minion wave. That's where top laners, if you're not used to the Gwen matchup, it can definitely catch you off guard. However, Gwen's main damage source outside of snip is that ultimate. And when you're at later stages and if Gwen doesn't have that ultimate, her damage drops down tremendously. So I want to see Solidified and see if he can make it work.
It depends on the build, Chad. This is something I was
That's
kind of
true.
talking with you before. Well, normally you've been seeing a lot more people try to go for that AP bruiser, almost like a rumble kind of build.
Yeah.
I have been seeing a couple players run this strange tank on hit build with Gwen to really make full use of her passive. So instead of having this uploaded damage in her Q and her ult, it is all about her being able to kite back, chase around, dive into the backline, and something you can't really deal with because she's constantly on top of you.
Yeah, it's a lot of it all depends on the matchup at the end of the day. We'll see who's gonna be picking up for the Blacklist side, but I'm just happy to see this champion, man. Personally, I think it's slightly undertuned, but I do like the identity of what this champion's gonna be because one, it's an AP split pusher. We don't see that. We don't see those AP duelists in the top lane. We're always seeing Fioras, seeing them Aurelia, seeing Jax's, Camille's. Gwen's gonna be the. I think right now I'm trying to think of the entire champion pool. I think she's the dedicated true AP split pusher if you want to build her that way.
For the most part. I mean,
Yeah.
If you think back to the days when Echo Top was like,
sure, yeah.
all the rage, but it's been a while
Yeah.
since we've seen.
Yeah.
Those have been kind of gutted away, and that's kind
Phase
of the
Top,
I was
yeah.
even thinking about with this Gwen is like something of a build path like that. But
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see what Solidified wants to be able to go for, because right now, Robbie Bob has locked in Lucian. Could be flexed its effects. Doubt it, though. We've been seeing it pretty much dedicated into that mid lane for quite some time. Very, very seldomly has it ever been flexed into the bot lane in Season 11.
Yeah. But speaking of flexes, though, Alex, that Blacklist does have the Tristana on lock for Only and Nightstar. I mean, technically for Orsis, too, if they really want to send Tristana top lane and do the best Viper impression that they got. But, Blacklist, they do have a lot of tools in the way they want to approach this draft. Brady banning the Nocturne away, so it means that they are afraid of a Nocturne in the top lane, which I could definitely see winning the top side against Gwen. Yeah, or mid lane, too. Could definitely swing either way, and I'm definitely liking that ban.
As right now, we still aren't seeing that jungle pickup coming in from the side of AOE. Blacklist instead are focusing onto the bot lane, trying to see if they can pigeonhole Vex into something that's not going to have the best matchup into Tristana. Like I said, the Kaisa is something that Vex likes to fall back onto, has been left open thus far. So you have to choose. Do you want to face off against Jinx, something that can hyper carry for Vex, or do you want to be able to take away that Kaisa, something that is going to be a bit more of that diving in the backline that will facilitate exactly what AOE have drafted for themselves?
If I'm Brady right now, I got to make sure I can get that Jinx, man. If I'm Blacklist, I got to get this champion out of the way. Right. Jinx is so good right now for the Brady team, because remember that they don't need any more magic damage. Solidify is going to be the one handling that damage profile already. And so, pick that hyper carry. You need someone to kind of get to that point against Nightstar and this Tristana. So, definitely what I would recommend.
So they banned away Kaisa, but Seraphine is also something that has been left open. They already have an ADC in Robbie Bob on this Lucian.
I mean, they
having
can.
Something like a Seraphine in the bot lane could make it so that they can fall back onto Robbie Bob being the sort of AD damage, while Solidified in the top lane is the AP.
The issue is that when you're rocking Seraphine in the bottom lane right now, you're exposing yourself to getting mad dough. And that's one of the issues that I see if you want to rock Seraphine in the bottom lane. You look at Tristana, you look at Alistar, they're both going to be diving in ASAP. And if you make a bad trade level 2, just call John Star over and be like, yo, these guys are low. Kill them. But speaking of which, that's what I wanted. The Jinx being locked up for Vex on the bottom side. And it makes a lot more sense.
I agree with you completely there. It fits really well with the team. It also gives them a bit more flexibility in what they want to be able to do. Because you always talk about Lucian and how he's so strong in the lane phase, as well as these mid-game team fights, being able to skirmish. Even though, yeah, he can scale pretty well, Jinx is going to be the hyper carry. Something you could fall back to. So even if you're not necessarily having that perfect performance early game, you can always say, all right, we got the scaling, we got the late game, baby. Get Jinx all the items possible. And that's why this Victor, I think, is so nice, coming in for Only on the side of Blacklist. Something that can also contend into those later stages of the game.
It's also one of the better mages to deal with Lucian too, knowing that Gravity Field is such a deterrent from the all-in of Robbie Bob. So I'm liking Only picking up this champion for himself here. Now the question is going to be, where is this Tristana going to be going? Are you going in the top lane, or are you going? I assume in the bottom lane, but they're definitely got to think what they want to counter with. It's going to be that Fiora. All right, that is a counter matchup, because you could basically just hold that W. You ain't going to get snip at the end of the day. So I'm liking that. And you do that true damage. You can fight within her W and just poke her at her vitals all day, every day.
Orices loves to play this Fiora too. This is a comfort pick going into the top lane. We've been seeing a lot more Fiora in this last patch. 11.8, 11.9. Fiora has been rising up in priority as we've seen a couple of the other top laners really starting to fall down. And we get Viego. Oh, man.
Okay.
All right. Draxter is going to be playing at that jungle Viego for us.
Okay, all right. Now this is mad spicy. I don't see a lot of Viego top. I don't know how fast this clear is going to be. It is a healthy clear,
jungle.
though.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's
No,
jungle.
it's Viego jungle, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know how fast this clear is going to be,
That's
but
okay.
he is a pretty healthy clear. That's one thing that benefits from Viego overall is that he does sustain himself pretty well. Can he do all the camps? Heck no. Can he do 5 camps and scuttle? I don't think so. I'm going to hedge my bets that he can only do 4 camps and then has to fight for the scuttle or just give it up
So,
entirely.
What I usually see from Viego is kind of the double buff into scuttle type of thing, where you want to be more on the skirmishing side, because like you said, his clear is not really going to be able to contend with something like a Lilia, who's going to be able to take the Raptors really quickly, go from buff to buff fast, and even if she doesn't have the healthiest clear, it is something quick where she can easily move from camp to camp, try to be able to fight and contest these scuttle crabs, while Viego wants to skirmish. He wants to be able to fight around the scuttle crabs. The camps themselves are more of a secondary option.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like that does sound like Viego's a 4 camp clear before the scuttle, so that does guarantee level 3 no matter what. Whereas John Star, 5 camps and then you can fight no matter what. Curious though, because Blacklist, they have a strong bottom side off of Nightstar and Amelioration. Orsi's going to be on the weaker side just because of the allocation. And Blacklist, there's a composition that actually both compositions require a lot of money, man. The only ones that don't need a lot of money is their supports. Orsis want gold, Solidify want cash, Johnstar want gold too.
Johnstar just really wants to be able to get a zone, yes. Let's be real.
Sure. Okay. Sure. Yeah. But regardless, a lot of these guys, they want that booty. I'm being honest. They want to plunder all that gold.
They want to have some fun here. Where's the F-U-N? F is for fires that burn down the building. U is for uranium bombs, and it's for no survivors.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, let's see if Blacklist
Do you not know your SpongeBob song? Oh,
man.
Come on.
Man, you know how long it's been since I watched SpongeBob?
Yesterday?
No.
I don't know then. That was just my educated guess.
Last time I watched the FUN episode.
Last week.
Sheesh, man. I feel like I was like 16. So I'm being honest. That was like 9 years ago, man. I don't remember the song. All I know is F is for friends who do stuff together. U is for you and me. N is for anywhere and anytime at all. Down here,
big blue
down
sea.
Here in the Upsurge sea. So
there you go. Hey,
there you go.
We
got it.
But we got to talk about the compositions that have been drafted for Blacklist and AOE Brady giving us a little bit of spice. They are giving us fun here with both Gwen and Viego locked in here into game 1 against Blacklist. And you kind of were already alluding to how these teams both kind of need to be able to get a lot of gold. But I do want to see how Johnstar's going to be able to pilot this Lilia against Viego, especially against what everyone has drafted on AOE, because I feel like that is going to be the real big point for both of these teams that is going to try to set up these early games to try to get an early snowball rolling.
Yeah, and I'm wondering which lane you want to tackle down, because Rob Bob's hard to tackle down. Fighting Viego depends on what lane has priority. Personally, I'd try and tackle Gwen ASAP because 1, it's a winning match on the top side. Let Orsis kind of run rampant, and 2, you have to be in that threat of Gwen in that W to just get the sleep off. So I kind of like that idea, and also you threaten it just off of throwing a bowling ball. If you want to burn her W, just chuck it in and see if you land a strike, and if you don't. If you do, then she has to activate that W, and then boom, Fiora gets a free little trade all through and through.
That she does. And this is something that will be all about how you're going to be able to play around that, especially when you get to level 6. If you're going to be able to get Johnstar up pretty fast to be able to find a gank into one of these lanes, because I'm expecting to see a lot of lane priority from Robbie Bob mid lane. And that might be enough to make it hard for Johnstar to actually be able to do too much. Even though maybe I'm not too sure about the Fiora-Gwen combo in top lane. Who's going to be able to get priority over who? I'm expecting it to probably be Fiora, even if Gwen is something that can be pretty aggressive earlier on. but I'm not exactly sure how that one will go. Bot lane Tristana, always going to be innately able to push into Jinx. It's just one of those lanes, so you're expecting it to be priority over towards Johnster there. But I think Robbie Bob and his priority against Victor is really going to be what decides how Johnster's going to be able to play.
Yeah, when we look at that matchup just a little bit more in detail, Lucian, of course, is a champion that can always get priority in many matchups. The only reason why Victor is good is because it deters any sort of all-ins. So I 100% believe that Rob Bob should be able to get priority. If he lands those piercing lines, just of course, just auto-attacking the minion wave, he's going to get that push no matter what. However, later on, Omni can threaten the one-on-one with those lasers and those siphoning strikes. So we'll have to see this kind of seesaw in the mid lane later on. But 100% early game, these early scuttles, should expect Rob Bob to fight for those 2-on-2s and it'll be a favor for them.
So, Will, as we dive into game one between Blacklist and AOE Brady, look at the starting items. Look at the invade. You already see that blade coming in from the solidified. And this is what I was talking about. The potential for the on-hit build out of Gwen. Something that we have seen a bit. It hasn't been quite getting the spotlight that like AP Gwen has been. But it's something that I think can contend with Orises on this Fiora.
Well, we still don't know yet. Alex,
man.
It's a good starting item, 100%.
You see that? I'm already convinced.
That's true.
It's going on hit. Let's go, baby.
We have seen,
Wrecker, baby, let's go.
Stop. Don't make me annoyed now. I have seen Frostfire Gwen rock a lot. It is a good way to just kind of alleviate losing matchups. However, this is also a very volatile matchup that can swing either way because these two require money in their pockets. If you manage to cuck Orsis out from a wave, from XP, it can just swing completely over solidified until we hit the later stages of the game. And that's the delicate balance. And when we pay attention to those top lanes where we're not seeing tank versus tank, we're not seeing a bruiser versus a tank. We're seeing two dedicated slip pushers battle out. It's basically a fighting game, man. You have to win that neutral, and once you do, you make sure you just maintain it the entire game.
As right now, it is going to be Draxter constantly on the top half of the map. Might even look to see if they can have vertical clears. Look at the vision that they've been able to put down all the way onto the blue buff of Johnster. With the Krug start out of this Viego, there's a good possibility we see an immediate gank topside, trying to make a play there, and then maybe even go for an early invade.
I don't know if he wants to, though. This is where I'm just curious, though, because remember that I'm not used to seeing Viego in the jungle, man. It's a new thing. I haven't seen it. This is the first time I think I've seen it competitive. We're not going to see it in MSI either. I'm just curious about the speed temp because right now they're kind of matching tempo. Viego is just a little bit behind compared to Johnstar on this Lilia, but they're doing a good job. They both have hit Raptors.
They have, but Johnstar has taken a lot of damage during this entire time, while Draxter, like you said, it's not quite as fast of a clear, but look at how much healthier he is.
Yeah.
There's always a ability to be able to try to find those early skirmishes. Try to be able to contend with Johnstar, especially since exactly how mid lane is going is what we expect. Bot lane's a bit unusual, as Nightstar is getting pushed in by Vex and Skytech.
I understand this, especially when Johnstar is pathing up towards his top laner to make sure you can just hold this wave. Of course, you are playing Tristana, so you are unable to. I just want to keep our eyes on this top lane, though, because Orsis, of course, has a CS lead right now, and the wave is bouncing back for this potential gank that Johnson can show up for. Orsis is playing this wave pretty damn well, man. And if you want to talk about neutral, Orsis is the one who's kind of winning it out at the end of the day.
Yeah, but Solidified is making sure it's kind of frozen. It's going to take quite some time. Johnstar is going to be just a little too early before it fully can push into a position where he can fully make use of. So that's why you can see him already trying to get that Scuttle Crab, and the straight up blows top lane. Going to favor
mid
that
lane,
though. Orsi's doing a great job, but mid lane, you're right. Draxter was able to get a gank off, but only had to flash away. Now Johnstar, top lane, going to be able to at least get the zone away and make sure that Solidified is not continuing the push.
All right, it's unfortunate we missed out that flash in the mid lane because Omni kind of needing that flash to deter these all-ins. Usually, having flash in this Victor matchup is really crucial because when you hit level 6, you don't have to worry about Robbie Bob flashing over the gravity field, but now that you don't have flash, you have to make sure that when Robbie Bob turns 6, you're not going to get deleted with that all-in. This is where Robbie Bob can actually look to turn the tides in his favor in the mid lane.
As it is going to be slowly but surely pushing towards Robbie Bob. He's trying to see if he can get it frozen right about there. So that way, Omni It's a rough spot as a Victor without a flash to try to be able to contend against Robbie Bob, who only wants to be able to wait it out till Skytech, till Draxter is going to be able to show up, and they can truly punish this Victor. Only, again, no flash. Going to make a smart path towards the top side since they don't know exactly where Johnster is.
Our Dragon is going to be the main focus of AOE on the bottom side. I kind of like this little situation that they have going on here. We do see Skytech and Draxter moving down together. Get some of these invades here.
Right now.
Orson and Solidify going to be fighting a little bit of a one-on-one. But those battles, man, it'd be hurting.
Yeah. And look at the difference in CS, because Solidified decided to walk all the way back to lane as opposed to trying to TP back in to control the wave. There's going to be quite some time to be able to contend against Ursus. That's why you see getting that good trade of damage and forcing the back out of Fiora is going to make it so that Solidified will be in slightly better of a position.
Yeah. Orsi's just deciding to stay in the top
He
lane.
has to.
So
that was such a huge minion
Yeah.
wave. You back
Which is
there,
good.
you lose way too much.
Yeah. I'm surprised though Solidified didn't want to threaten some of those CS being lost with Snip Snip. So it's going to be it. But Rybob, looking for an all-in.
Got the calling, getting a lot of
Has
damage, but
flash
not going to
too,
be able to
but,
get the full damage on top of him. Doesn't want to go for the full dive. He took a lot of
Yeah.
damage from Omni beforehand. I think it was a smart call, but it's a bit unfortunate.
Usually you want to say that calling for an all-in, not using it here. Rybob.
Flash.
Oh, God.
Flash, and look over the wall.
Oh,
It's going to be the flash coming in
Draxter!
from Draxter. First blood for Robbie Bob.
Yeah, Johnson had no idea that Draxter was right over the wall. Rybob going for tremendous bait as he was looking delicious in the mid lane. Like that little move here as Draxter shows up at the right place at the right time. But this also means that this Viego can start getting the steam rolling, getting the game rolling. Bot side, we have another 2-on-2.
Yeah, going to be able to get the headbutt onto Skytech underneath the turret, so he's going to tank a
They're
turret
split.
shot the entire time. Here's the rocket jump, but look,
Oh,
Draxter
Draxter's
on the
here.
other side. They're going to be able to get the exhaust with
Nice
the heal
heal.
on top, and they got the still and flash away. But now they turn their attention to get the kill onto Omelet.
Oh, Drax
and
can
might
dive
be able
this.
to contend the dive. Double kill for Alistair. Johnster on the other side realizes that is not a play.
Yeah, the moment I saw Draxter become amelioration on that Alistar, I knew the dive was going to come straight on through. But the most important thing, Alex, is that we have a 2-0-1 Viego in the game. You don't want this champion to steamroll early on because he's going to be building that crit, building that lifesteal. It's going to be looking really good. We just see a little bit of replay where Draxter, of course, just punishes Johnstar on that over-aggression. But still, man, this is where Viego is going to potentially start taking over the game because he's going to have a lot of sustain in these fights.
You got to take a look at this replay. And at first, it seems like a good play coming in from Blacklist. They got so much damage onto Skytech. But again, Draxter, right place, right time.
So good here. But also, well, if I'm Blacklist, I should have been aware that he was padding towards the bottom side. There's complete vision of that at the end of the day. So I think Blacklist got a little bit over-eager. I think they thought they'd kill Skytech in that short amount of time frame. It was a speed play. Fortunately, they're going to lose it. Good stuff on Blacklist, though, is they do take the Mountain Drake, in the first game right now. So a little bit of a prize, but at the end of the day, you're down 2K behind. Have to figure out a way to answer Draxter.
You gotta be able to stop this Viego from snowballing out of control. Got 2 kills now. He's got 100% kill participation on this champion, constantly rotating around. And as you can see, the item's starting to be built up. Probably sitting on a good amount of gold, but just wants to be able to get that Rift Herald first beforehand. Get some more plates, maybe even pop that top lane to help out this Gwen who's starting to slowly but surely fall more and more behind Orices.
Kind of like that little play right now. Making sure they get the Rift Herald too. Eventually, Rybob wants to get out of this lane because you always see the poke damage that comes through with the laser and the Q. It does a lot, man. This is where Lucian's matchup will start swinging back for Omni, and I'm liking it so far.
That's do I. It's one of the win conditions they can fall back onto. You and I had already talked about how both these teams really want to be able to kind of hoard up a lot of that gold, become dragons themselves as they get more and more stacked into themselves, and be able to buy these crucial items. Well, right now, Blacklist, even though they have fallen a little bit of gold behind, they're not completely out, and they're getting gold into the right places. Orices having a decent CS lead in this top lane, mid lane, even though they were able to get a kill for Robbie Bob onto Johnster, it wasn't on top of Omni. He's actually doing fine right now, contending with CS.
Yeah, and if I'm Blacklist right now too, I just want to stay this way. Even though you've had a little bit of a blunder in the early game, making sure you get to that later stage is going to be very good because even though Blacklist is, before he gets that though,
Needlework
Orsi's,
was used, and he's already got the grand challenge with a lot of damage. Does he go for the dive? You can tell that Solidified wants to be able to use that.
I like
He's got a lot of damage, but no, he's going to back off. Flash is there for Reese's, but he's not sure where Draxler is, and that's why he wants to be able to back off of this one.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Orsi's also was unable to get the last vital proc on a Solidified. Draxler showing up though.
He's got Spectral Maw.
Goodbye.
Oh, but he's
Yeah,
going
he's
to be
good.
able to get out of there. What? And you can see that Draxler was looking for him like, come on, he's got to be somewhere here, right?
Yeah. But going back to my point though, Alex, is that if I'm Blacklist, as long as I just maintain this kind of thing, I'll be looking pretty good because we look at the team fights. Even though Johnstar isn't, as a champion, isn't going to be the best when it comes to the later stages of the game, it's also a better facilitator. You can make everyone go night-night, go sleep, you know, hit the
about
haystack. When you look at AOE, Draxler, even though you're a carry, you don't facilitate team fights. You have to depend on getting some solid picks or focusing on one target at a time. So Blacklist, we look at the 5-on-5, it's definitely going to be slightly more in favor of them, not off of Johnstar, but including only two with that Chaos Storm and that Gravity Field. A lot of AOE on Blacklist, and that's something they can play with.
That they can, and it's going to be something that I think will be useful since they are still holding on to this deficit. It's not really expanding too much for AOE Brady. It's about 1,500 between the two teams. Even though you have Draxler with this eye in the inventory, has 2 kills, it's already going towards that really burst heavy damage with the crit item having the Noon Quiver for himself. It's not going to be something that you can rely on immediately. You need to be able to continue to expand this lead because as the game goes on, Blacklists are going to be fine with their composition, waiting to see if they can buy some of these really expensive items.
Yeah, well, on top line, I think we have a little gank coming on Orsi's.
Oh, Orsi's, though, he's
Mixing up.
fine. Look at that. Doesn't even use Flash to be able to get away.
Oh, man. I mean, Fiora's kind of a slipper champion, Alex.
That's true.
That little Q gives you a lot of cooldown reduction if you hit something, especially when you got minions around. So gets him out. And also, we look at Gwen. Don't really got a lot of gank assists. No CC, man. So I can see why Orsi's got out.
I mean, technically the CC is, you know, the needlework with a little bit of a slow.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Like technically. Oh,
Oh,
man,
yeah.
so much there. Oof.
Oh.
Now, Johnster looking for the top lane, getting a lot of damage from Orisi's onto Solidified yet again. Needlework is up, so there can be that burst of damage. Having that little bit
it's
of
one
damage
Needlework,
coming in.
that's
There
two.
it is. Going to be able to use it. Body blocked minions, though. Trying to get inside of the mist. There it is. Sleep. But nobody follows it up. It's going to be the flash coming in from Johnster. Barely alive. Burning for the
Night-night.
passive. Not just
He ain't going
yet.
to sleep.
Oh, but the bowling ball, it's not going to be able to connect. Solidified will be able to
Oh, man.
escape the dive.
Couldn't get the spare on that bowling ball. I was going to say, Johnstar is a little bold of you to try and make sure he falls asleep without the dive coming through, but with all those resources being blown on the top side, I like what AoE's doing on the bottom end, using the Rift Herald to make sure they make a speed play on the bottom end, and along with that, stripping all these camps. And another thing, Alex, is that this Cloud Drake is now on the table for AoE to just take for themselves. So, Blacklist, I like the idea, but then AoE, they have the best punish, man. They got 1, 2, 3 things off the table, looking real good.
With more gold into their pockets, and they're also a composition that wants to be able to scale up. They're also a composition that needs gold into the right places, and they put it into Vect, getting this Jinx.
Yeah.
More gold from the turret. Dragon as well. Sure, you know, you already got the Kraken Slayer completed for Draxler, but you want to make sure it's Vect the one that's hoarding up that stash.
I will say Cloud Drake should be really good for AoE Brady. Of course, you know, all dragons are really good, but then the reason why I bring this up is because, you know, you have to get these isolated one-on-ones and make sure you can snowball yourself because it can get real tough. I mean, look at Orsi's. These vials are hurting, man. Solidified. He's like, no, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Let me just waddle away.
Well, look at what's been completed right now for Orisi. Already getting that gore drink.
Yeah.
Making sure to contend against Solidified, who only has Leeching Leer, Bramble Vest to be able to stop some of the healing coming in from this Fiora. That's not a good look at the moment, especially since we were talking about build paths that you possibly could go for Gwen. I would have much preferred the Frostfire into this matchup because as the game continues on, it is going to be nearly impossible for this Gwen to be able to contend against Fiora.
You're definitely not wrong. The issue is that the damage profile just becomes mainly attack damage, though, Alex.
True,
And that's one of
very
the worries
true.
that can come through. Orsies, though, he's committed to this turret. He's going to be in a 1
got
versus
it.
2. Ooh, I like the parry.
Look at the damage on it, bro. Drexler,
man.
though, even with the Heartbreaker,
Orsi.
flashed in, shuts down coming in, and he's got the 1v2 solidified, trying to be able to fight back. The rocket's going to be dodged away, but here's the backup coming in, getting the kill for SkyTech. Johnster, the next to fall. 2 more kills for AOE.
Hey, we were already ready for the punish again, man. The bot lane showed up just in time. Orsies, though, he played real good. He reposted that Spectrum on him, make sure that he don't get stunned up. And because of that, he managed to get a kill in return. But at the end of the day, Alex, it's a 2-for-1.
It is.
In favor for AOE. Let's take a look at this replay again. And this is where Orsies, you have to be mad mindful of how you want to play this mix-up because you're the one who has to guess when Spectrum wants to come up. Because remember, Drexler doesn't have to let that go. He can just sit on it and then just kind of just throw it in a different direction and then just start hitting you. But regardless, good stuff on Blacklist, good stuff on Orsies, but AOE with the optimal punish with that rotation because of that bot lane priority and that turret being gone. AOE, they just seem like they have just a gigantic tempo lead against Blacklist.
That they do. And even though you got a good amount of shutdown gold picked up by Fiora, going to be even stronger in this split push. It's the fact that the gold is continuing to the right places. And you can see Robbie Bob here, going to be able to completely solo Johnster. And without Lilia, the one you need for these team fights to be able to set things up, doing anything, 0 and 3 right now, still working towards even the mythic, let alone being able to get towards that Zonius to really start feeling comfortable. As Vex is completely zoned away by Omli, but it's still not necessarily something they can follow up on just yet.
Yeah, use the Chaos Storm to push Vex away. No neutral decks coming up, so they'll be up next time if they do want to fight. But you're right, man. Johnster is 0-3. This is a player that we criticized in the later stages of not looking too good. Nice star. I don't know if you want to do this, brother.
I don't know. Look at Draxler on the other side. Zap. And with the TP in from Gwen, they've got him cut off. Trying to see if they can dive on top of Nightstar, but it's going to be elimination, making sure that they're at least able to get a little bit away. Johnster's on the flank. Could show up. Rocket not going to be able to connect onto Alistair, so they have to back out of the fight, but they stop the dive on top of Vex, and they are able to pop the eye mid lane too.
Alex, I think that's the classic way of looking at AoE. When they team fight, they don't got a lot of CC, man. It's only SkyTech that can facilitate a lot of these fights. Nice star, of course, throw him more. I like that little idea. Make sure Vex goes back to base and heal up, but that's what I'm talking about with AoE in their composition. They don't got a lot of ways to facilitate these fights, man. You got the needlework, yeah, sure, but it's a tiny slow. You don't got a headbutt pulverize. You don't got a grounded field and a gigantic sleep from Johnstar's squad. And that's one of the worries that I have for AoE if they enter these team fights. And ideally, you don't start these team fights. You make sure you're sitting on a 1-3-1. You're taking some isolated skirmishes so you can win on that end.
You're really trying to rely on SkyTech and SkyTech alone to be able to have these engaged tools for the team. Like you said, who else can they rely on? They got nobody else that's really going to be able to set up AoE Brady, and that could be Blacklist's way to be able to slow out this game just a bit more. Try to be able to get themselves some items, because you're seeing how many mythics have now been completed onto the proper targets of AoE. They have a lot of upfront damage they're able to provide, but they need that engage to be able to actually make it work.
Or Alex, maybe this can be like, you know what? We don't need that engage. We don't need that utility. We full-on glass cannon, and that's what AoE is, man. It's a glass cannon. It can hurt, but it can also break. It can break. That's the game AoE Brady's playing with right now. They're playing with glass. Nice Star wants to see if they can play with glass too.
Zap connecting. Look at the damage coming in from Vex. He's got Rocket. He could be able to use it. No flash, no heal for Nightstar, but doesn't pull the trigger just yet. Not exactly sure. And Liberation was able to body block that one pretty well, making sure there's no Rocket coming out of Vex to be able to snipe that kill. But all the while, Draxler's able to get a second dragon for the team. Bot lane, you can see that Solidified's trying to keep Omli pushed back in, not really going to be able to show up to help out the team at all.
Yeah. And so far, the only kill that's been happening was Orsies in that solo kill in Blacklist. They're kind of fumbling when it comes to the team plays. Johnster is dedicating a little bit too much of his time to help Orsies, and I like the idea, but then you're giving up way too much. This is the criticism that we had. Orsies going to be okay, not going to get killed by the culling, but this is the big criticism that we all wondered, Alex, is that what can Johnstar do post early game? How much resource can you balance that resource management of your time, your energy, the goal that you got? You know, you hunting monsters in the jungle. Right now, AOE, they're just looking better at it.
But they're only at a 2,000 gold lead, just shy of that, in fact. That's not necessarily where you think that they would be with the 6-1 kill discrepancy. You saw where the gold has been allocated, and it really is the fact that Blacklist have been able to continually stall out the game. They haven't quite lost everything, especially for Orsies. We have to keep talking about this Fiora, because I feel like that's the contingency plan. That's what they're going to rely on.
Alex, he's legit the only win condition that they have right now. Of course, I mean, they can potentially win on a team fight. They got utility that they can use at that point, but then for a solo target, solo teammate to win the game by him damn self, it is going to be Orsies. I mean, you take a look at him. He's going to be taking on Robbie.
Now, flashed away, flash followed up, shut down for Orsies. The win conditions there, baby.
Stabby stab, man. It's going to hurt, but look at AOE. They're already here for the right punish. They want to see if they can take this top outer turret. Skytech going to get spot out too, but regardless, AOE, have to adapt to Orsies now, and I enjoy this from Blacklist that they have to kind of put everything on Orsi's hands to make sure they can win.
Zaps connecting mid lane, getting a lot of damage onto Nightstar yet again, forcing him back underneath the turret, but Tier 1 is going to stand for Blacklist. They've got the gold, still continuing to push in that bot lane for Orsies, who has TP2. Can always show up to be able to help out the team if they can find the flank, if they can find the position onto AOE Brady, who are forced back underneath their Tier 1. Both Tier 1 mid lane standing at nearly 21 minutes into the game, which means a lot of that jungle control both teams are trying to vie for, they just haven't been able to get yet.
If I'm Blacklist right now, Alex, I do not want a freaking team fight, man. I'm like, yo, Orsi, just do your thing, bro. We got you. We'll let you know if someone's showing up at your party, all right? That's what I'll be doing if I'm Blacklist right now, making sure Orsies can just play his game. S Reaver now already unlocked. This means that he can win basically every one-on-one at this point onwards. He could probably win 1 versus 2s at this point, Alex, and this the saving grace for Orsies.
He already has won 1v2s.
He has, but this guarantees that he probably takes both of them down, is what I'm saying.
I mean, I think he would have taken both of them down too, had other people not shown up and it had become a 1v4.
I don't know about that. It definitely would have been close, but this 100% guarantees it.
That's fair. But right now, he, being the only person with 2 completed full items that, well, actually, technically, Vex has it too. Oh, the rocket! Oh, tragedy for Blacklist, losing Nightstar like that. And you can already see that AOE want to be able to punish that and be able to get control around the Baron.
I like that one too, though, man. You got the guns and you got the rocket. Only difference is that 2 people are wielding it. However, AOE still have not figured out an answer against Orsies. No one's in the bottom lane, Alex.
I was just say,
no one's entered the duelist.
Exactly. Oh, then again, who can deal with them?
He's looking like Yugi right now, man.
Is it Yugi or Kaiba?
No, Yugi. He's the he's the Pharaoh right now. Solidify gonna see if he can answer back, but there's a 2-level discrepancy right now, Alex.
That's true, and you can see that Solidify just going to clear out the minion waves and leave the spot lane. There's no reason to stay around near Orsies. Oh, is hanging around, but Orsies playing it smart. No control. You can see from the vision. Where are they going to be able to do anything? They only have that one ward right outside here to be able to kind of spot people out, but that's not enough to feel safe, to feel confident to be able to step out.
Even then, though, even if he does step out, he's perfectly fine. Remember that AOE, they don't got utility to use.
That's true.
For the teammates, man, they don't got smokes. They don't got anything to tame Orsies down. The only thing they can do is brute force him with all the weapons that they got. And even then, this is the duelist, man. He can 1v2, he can 1v3 at this point. Already got the Phage on lock, and right now, Blacklist, they're looking pretty good. They're slowly evening up this goal lead, which back then was like which was 2-3K behind.
But I think that's the big story here, is that Blacklist have not been hemorrhaging out this gold, all because Orsies has been able to constantly put this pressure in these side lanes, while Robbie Bob is trying to do the same thing in this top lane, be able to get a little bit more gold for the team. It's going to be some time until they can spend it, and this is giving Blacklist a little bit of time to be able to take themselves an objective, even up the dragons.
Awkward trade, though. I think Omni could have just reset and went straight to the top side to answer Robbie Bob. Eventually he will, and Robbie Bob won't be able to threaten turrets because of the mad wave clear that Victor has in his kit. But regardless...
Okay, Sleep is used only on Skytech. They've got a lot of damage, sure, but they got the Magnet Sword with the Flash of Wave to be able to get the kill, and look at Nightstar being able to take the kill, but it's a 2-for-1 trade. Finally, they're going to be able to turn it back around onto Dragster. Orsi's waiting to be able to get this flank in. They got the
Knock
knock-up, and here's Orsi's 1v3 with the grand challenge on Vex. Shut down, completed 2 with a huge heal. Robbie Bob trying to be able to get away, but only trying to make sure they can chase down.
Oh God.
Coming in from Solidified. And a trade of 1 for 1. 4 for 4 kills at the moment, and Robbie Bob has to flee.
I gotta question Blacklist at that moment, though, Alex. When they went in, Johnson only landed 1-man sleep. This is a person that has to be the team fight facilitator. You're only putting one person to sleep, but that's where all the utility's already gone. First person gets deleted off the map, and this is where the fight gets a lot harder. Oh, now Omni and Amelioration are the only two that can facilitate these fights, and Orsi's is late to the party. Imagine if Johnstar was still alive. Imagine if he didn't want to pull that trigger on just one person, man. Imagine you just let AoE walk into you, you get a good sleep on 3, and then you collapse. Way better at that situation, and then you don't burn TP resources. Blacklist, even though it was an even fight, even though it was good because you guys are essentially slightly behind, it's not good for the rest of the composition because those resources are mad valuable for your comp.
I agree. They need to make sure they're playing, because if they played together as one unit, if they made sure they held on to that lilting lullaby for Johnster, I think that they get a complete ace and they get Baron. I think that they were able to win that fight had they waited for Orsi's to be able to show up beforehand. But now, it is still at least even. Nothing has really changed between the two teams, except for the fact that Orsi's has even more gold on this Fiora. Even less people with that Stairks gauge can now contend against Fiora in the side lane.
Yeah, dude, Alex, I'm not gonna lie, man. AoE need to figure something out against Orsi's. I mean, we've been hammering this all day. They still haven't figured it out, man. He's still doing his thing. If you want to force team fights, sure, but remember that team fights is slightly going to be in favor of Blacklist because of utility. Unless Johnstar makes a gigantic blunder when it comes to his resource management, sure. But this is where we look at Blacklist. They now have the game in their hands. A lot more map control, and they're hitting turrets.
Vex, what are you doing? You cannot be split pushing at this point. You do not have TP, and they're going to be able to march down mid lane for Blacklist, get themselves a free tier 2. There's no fight from AoE because they don't have that.
If I'm Blacklist at this point, just hover on the Baron. Don't start it, though. Remember, you don't want to start this. They have a lot of damage. AoE has a lot of damage and have a way of contesting you, especially with these flanks. But let Orsi's breathe. And this is where I want to see Blacklist play out this 1-4 in a very good way. Just make sure you clear out all this vision, make sure you have some control, and let Orsi's fight a 1 versus 1. Have him fight 1 versus 2, and if he does, then you start that Baron.
But nice there, getting himself caught out right here, having to jump away. Barely alive. The rocket going to be able to connect, but so much was burned to be able to survive for Nightstar that they're going to lose the tier 1 mid lane. They're probably even going to lose that control that they had just gained around the Baron.
Individual mistakes is kind of what Blacklist is being caught off with. Johnstar, of course, one of them. Nightstar, he did this one. He did this again too, where they're just kind of making some individual calls of starting some fights. They get antsy. You can't be getting antsy when you're playing the dedicated 1-4. You have to be mad disciplined. And if Blacklist can do it, that's great. But if they don't, it's going to be showing, especially going to game 2 if they lose this.
Especially because we have seen that Brady themselves, they have lost games where they got a little too antsy too. Blacklist, they want to be able to prove that they are the team worthy to take this middle of the pack, that they can take away the second place from Brady, prove the desk wrong, but Amelioration takes a bit of damage from Vex, and they're even just trying to make sure they can maintain control of their own jungle before Orsi's is going to be able to show up.
I will say, though, if I'm AoE and I manage to knock out one of them...
no, Nightstar takes a lot of damage, but he has Flash finally going to be able to survive. Amelioration taking a lot of damage, too, having to Flash, too, to be able to survive. This means that AoE Brady, they're going to be the ones in control of the Dragon Pit.
I was going to say, Alex, if you manage to take out one of these facilitators in these fights, just pull a neutral objective, because that means that you don't have to deal with that CC when they want to contest, because they have to walk back into it. AoE, though, they're kind of shuffling and kind of indecisive of what they want to go for. Personally, Amelioration is just so damn low. But you are okay to pull this Baron. You can actually fight through that HP, but instead, they want to see if they can get this soul point.
Unbreakable Will was not popped by Amelioration beforehand, even though there's a lot of damage coming in. Look at Orsi's on that fight. Nightstar takes a lot of the aggression, but now Amelioration trying to see what they can get. They've got a lot of damage. They got a rampage. They're blowing them up. Look at AoE Brady. They're running for the hills. This is what happens when Blacklight fights as a team. Double kill for Orsi's, and they have a clean ace.
That is what I was talking about, Alex. Blacklist, when they are working together, when Johnson can get in and get a damn good sleep, that is what occurs. The utility, the AOE, the ability to just make sure that you can just delete all these squishy members at the same time works wonders. Finally, we see Blacklist get the upper hand, and with the help of Orsies on the back line, they're going to be getting this Baron too. AOE now, I appreciate y'all pulling out the Gwen and the Viego and pulling these things out, but the composition that you guys have, it don't work well.
Not at all. Not against Orises on the 6-1 and 2 Fiora Blacklist. They now have themselves the first lead they've had in game 1 against AOE Brady, and they are looking unstoppable. They've gotten to that late game that they've been striving for.
Yeah, man, if I'm Prussian right now, I'm gonna be mad pissed at the way AOE picked their damn composition, man. I know Prussian kind of mad. He's like, dude, you have no way of team fighting. All you have is just SkyTech, and that's pretty much it. You know? And the more this game goes on, it's not going to work out, Alex.
Yeah. You cannot rely on just one person for this, especially because when you have someone like Orises that you have to stop, you have to make sure this Fiora is not going to be able to do exactly what she did in that last fight. Amelioration 2 was able to have the perfect setup so the Nightstar could jump in, Orises could have the flank. Nothing could really stop them because what are you going to do at that point? You had already focused everything prior to try to just stop the Alistar from engaging.
AOE is the team that just needed Mass Snowball, and they couldn't get it through, man. This point, Orsi's 3 levels ahead. Legit about a Flame Horizon solidified in this matchup. And at this point, he's going to fight a one-on-one all day, every day.
I think he's going to get a solo kill in that bot.
He's going to, man, we don't need to watch it. We already know what's going to happen.
We know what's happening there as you have Unbreakable Will burned by Amelioration. That name is definitely a mouthful, but right now, we are seeing that Orises still pushing bot lane. Nobody is trying to stop this Fiora. He might just end the damn game.
No one gonna, no, man, that was the question that I always ask for AOE. Is like, yo, can y'all do anything about this Fiora?
He's 17.
If not, y'all lose.
He's already level 17. Nobody
this is the
can
trap card,
contend
man.
against this. He's just going to try to end the damn game. Look at AOE finally trying to see if they can peel back, but they have nothing to be able to contend against Fiora.
Look
Instead,
at Orsi's.
they want the fight. Orises saying, I got the game.
Man.
Game 1, Blacklist. Have Orises. He's been the king of this game and will be able to take victory.
What y'all doing?
Blacklist.
AOE, what y'all doing, man? You just gonna let the man just hit your nexus like that? Come on. Can't be going out like that. But regardless, at the end of the day, it was a compositional error from the AOE squad. You have to match Snowball early on. You blind pick Gwen, and you get counter pick with a Fiora. And then you pick Viego, which did get off on a good level. But once you hit that 20-minute mark, once you hit that 25-minute mark, mad hard to even try to fight. Mad hard to answer the split push too. AOE Brady, we have a lot of star veterans on that squad. Robbie Bob, Vex. We know these two, and we've seen them clutch these games out. But y'all got to go back to the drawing board, figure something else out, because Blacklist, they're showing up today.
That they are, especially Orises on that Fiora. I'm pretty sure that we're probably going to see a ban towards that Fiora. Just have an inkling in this one.
Pretty sure we're not going to see a Gwen first pick.
Okay, that's fair too. But I also think that Fiora, we talked about it before. It's not just Orise's been playing this recently. This champion has been slowly working her way into the meta, especially when you have an easy draft like that to be able to draft it into. You have the blind pick Gwen first pick. You're like, oh, hey, cool. I have the easiest split push game of the century.
Yep. And then along with that, we knowing that they locked a jungler who can't really or requires gank assist. You're like, cool, I can on 1 versus 2. Definitely did it. And AOE, hopefully they can figure things out, because if they do that same draft again, I swear to God, I'm pretty sure the entire desk is going to get mad, because everyone guessed 2-0 for AOE Brady, man.
They did, and they are already wrong on that one. We're going to toss it to a break. When we come back, we'll have the desk break that down a little bit further, and also all of them cry a little bit that they've already got their prediction wrong. So stick around.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Desk Ravishing Ravens shown by Beats on Boulevard and Prussian. Yet again, okay. So first, let's get one thing out of the way. Our predictions are gone. Okay, you know what? Let's just open this up here. You know what, breathe. I think I need a little room to breathe, to be able to really take in and understand what just happened. So, Brother Prussian, I'll let you go. I'll let you start us off. Please give us some light in these dark times.
All right. So on the desk, we weren't expecting Draxler to sub in. He's a top lane main. He was playing jungle, so a little bit weird. I thought that the draft from AOE was kind of strange, especially since they picked red side again for this game. They banned 3 junglers, and they were left with the Viego, which I don't think is an awful choice, but relatively slow clear speed. We saw Robbie Bob TP mid early to get the early item advantage to ensure that Draxler could at least get 1 crab, and that gave Omli a TP advantage, which he promptly wasted. I think despite the fact that Ortiz ended up carrying the game, I don't think Solidified necessarily played terribly. He was zoned off an early minion wave. He didn't die or anything, but since he got zoned off a pretty large wave from Johnster early, he kind of lost advantage in the lane, which already is a bad matchup. Ortiz is a FR1 trick. Gwen's a new champion, and I don't think they really drafted it at a great spot. So Solidified basically had to give over the lane to Ortiz, especially since Draxler wasn't really up there often to help him, and I don't even think that they would win or generate a meaningful advantage. Despite the fact that Vex got really far ahead, there was a point, we talked about this during the game, where the bottom lane looked really, really good for AOE, and Ortiz had no TP, and it was a slow push into Blacklist, and they just didn't do the Baron, despite the fact they had 3 item advantage on Jinx, and if they didn't hit the spike there, I mean, it goes kaput. Like, they failed to push their advantage, and they basically got outscaled.
It's rough too because the early game, all things considered, looking at the draft was fine. You like you said, you do lose out in top lane to Oasis because it's not a great matchup, and the validity of picking Gwen that early is a conversation for another time. By the way, you don't. So the thing too that is Draxler and AoE played that early game actually quite well, kind of really avoiding the fact that Viego has virtually no clear speed in the first couple minutes of the game because taking advantage of inopportune pathing there from the other side in Johnster. And what ends up happening is that we saw a solid level advantage, a solid lead all across the board here between junglers, and Viego's that kind of champion where if he actually gets to this point even or ahead where he has items, he doesn't feel like a fair champion, to quote you, Prussian, when we were watching the game. And there's even another point too, even before the 3-item jinx that I know you probably want to talk about but didn't get to, is that you have the 3rd dragon when your team is absolutely stronger on AoE Brady. This could have been your sole point here, but they don't actually go for it. They just kind of handshake and say, nah, you know what? We're just gonna let our mid laner push on the top side. We're gonna let you have this dragon for free, despite the fact that they were in a very good position to fight and win to secure themselves Soul's Point. And if they do that, that next dragon that came up where they end up getting wiped, well, they don't even need to be there in the first place because that's another chance where you could threaten the Baron, but they didn't.
So many opportunities on the side of AoE to apply a little bit more pressure, gain advantages in sideways, which they had multiple times over to possibly go for a pick or just simply force fights. They were ahead for far too long, but they let 2 things happen. Number 1, they bounced back and forth between mid wave so consistently without even getting to the tower. I thought they were going back to laning phase at this point. And 2, it's just fight. Like, please. You know that Ortiz can potentially has the ability to be able to take over almost everything you have and hold here, in that being your backline in that Jinx. And unfortunately, when he goes out of vision, TP somewhere on the backside, you saw he can consistently just tear you all apart. So do these things for me. 1, ban Fiora, or don't and lose. That's up to you guys, of course. But going into the next is just because look at this. He comes in late with a late TP and cleans up literally everybody else. Like, Robbie Bob barely gets away with his life clinging to his hands beat down. Like, I'll be honest, bro, look, man, I gave my 2 cents on what they should do going into the next, which is, yet again, fight and ban Fiora. Maybe y'all have a different opinion. Let me know.
Well, I think that's fine, all things considered. You probably will do it if you're AOE Brady, just because of the Orises V9 that we just witnessed there in game one. I think it's out of respect, you probably just want to take that one away. Or at the end of the day, knowing that that's an option, blinding a champion like Gwen, despite her, she's good. It's probably not ideal unless you're actually trying to play through the flex potential. You know, she can be a good solo laner as a whole. Gwen mid exists. Gwen jungle exists. It's a thing. My point being, that's the only other reason you'd want to pick it that early on red side. And even then, there are other champions you can grab for yourself. So if you can get a better matchup in the top side, it's not a big deal. Because I think early game and even mid game was played really well. It's just a matter of recognizing your comp strengths and when you're actually stronger than the enemy. You have an early lead, use that, and you should be fine.
I got to think. So just thinking about this entire draft, we talked about Fiora. Both these top laners are Fiora players. I just want to point out, Solidified is a Fiora player. Both of these players, I mean, blinding Gwen when you know that the enemy is also a Fiora one trick, and banning Nocturne instead of just picking Nocturne on R4 and then playing towards the side lane, I mean, it's a little confusing. You can just ban the Fiora, you can pick the Nocturne for the jungle, which counters Lilia, and then you can play to your top laner, who's basically a side lane specialist. I'm a little bit confused and kind of dumbfounded on how this AOE team wants to have their win condition set up, because I thought that Vex didn't necessarily play badly, but they made really bad use of when they had to fight on those 2-item spikes, that 3-item spike. I'm a little bit concerned going to game 2.
Bizarre choices across the board. We'll see if you can come back to reality a little bit with this draft as you're about to go into game number 2 between these two teams. Let's pass it over to Chilling Walk and Mad Magical to see our revelations. Let's see it.
Hello, and welcome back into the casting desk with myself, Mad Magical, and the one and only Chilling Walk. Game 1, Blacklist, especially Orisa's on that Fiora. We're able to take that game, and I'm wondering going into game 2 if we're going to see a blind pick one yet again.
I don't think we are, man.
You don't think we are?
The desk, no, because
You
I'm
sure?
kind of with the desk, man. The desk is kind of salty. I'm kind of salty too.
Well,
You know,
they're
I don't-
salty because they're wrong. You know,
No,
they're already
it's like-
wrong.
We're so used to AOE Brady do better drafts, man. We saw him play against Ice and they drafted well. This is where I'm with Prussian. They're all, they're throwing a lot of wild cards coming in. They're gonna be back on the red side, is what Prussian said. But we'll see if they make a change up. I do not want to see a
I
Gwen
think so.
first pick, man.
Oh, I think it's going to be completely different. I do not expect to see anywhere near that draft that AOE Brady drafted that last game. I'm also not expecting to see Fiora be let through for Irisis. But then again, I'm also expecting that second part of the bans. I'm not expecting that here. I'm expecting kind of similar bans maybe, but the first picks are really where things are going to shift up.
Yeah. So even though Gwen's a pretty is a pretty good champion, it's not blindable, guys.
No.
It's only a counter pick champion. So let's not have that happen. Shen being banned away. Not really gonna reveal too much, honestly, when it comes to the draft. So
Like I said, I think it's going to be the same. Shen, Rumble, I think we'll see Thresh, Morgana. Maybe not the Diana, we'll see on that
Maybe
one.
not
It is still really strong, but I don't know if it blue side is going to be coming through.
I mean, beats a lot of once Morgana's on the table, it dumpsters a lot.
Right, well that's what I'm saying, blue
Yeah.
side. I'm expecting it you'll let that through. You'll let AOE Brady ban that. If they don't ban it, you first pick it. Something
first
like that.
standard drafting.
Yeah,
if it's OP, you kind of see if you trade both OPs over.
Except
or you
when it
try
comes to
and
Omrecker,
cut
you
one.
build it first on every
No,
champion, 100%
stop. No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. You see this? Don't be doing this to me, Alex, because more than likely these drafts are probably the bans are, like you said, I agree with you. These bans are probably going to stay the same.
Yeah. But so far, they have. There's the Thresh too.
Yep.
Going exactly how we'd expect. Morgana probably going to be right here for AOE Brady. Maybe even Diana. It just depends really what they want to be able to take away.
Probably going to be Morgana, honestly.
Yeah, probably.
It's a solid flex on the blue side. You can put in support. It beats a lot of these engages on the bottom lane. And even then, if you have it in the jungle, it still beats those engages from the jungle roll. There it is, man. Same
Nothing changed.
thing.
And it's going to be when it comes to the actual picks themselves. That's when we're really going to see the adaptations coming in from the teams. Not going to see that Gwen first pick. Might see the Tristana first pick coming in from Blacklist. Think that Blacklist, for the most part, I actually think had a really good draft. I think that there's a lot of options that they were able to fall back onto. The only problem was how they played with that Lilia when it came to the early and mid game. But I suppose to everything else, the draft itself was pretty standard and pretty solid.
Individual mistakes did cost Blacklist a little bit, especially from John Star, who made a little bit of some blunders, but he did save himself at the end where he landed a awesome flash Q sleep on the entire party.
Yes.
Dinah being banned away, same thing.
I'm a bit surprised. I thought they would let that through.
That's what I'm saying, man.
It's a solid
Why not?
first pick because you can give it to only mid lane. You can flex it into Johnster. It just, to me though, it indicates, as you had said, that maybe Johnster just isn't confident enough to play it just yet.
Yeah.
So Tristana now is going to be the ban coming in from AOE Brady, meaning Udyr has been left up. But I don't think that Udyr is going to be as high priority. They could grab it for Johnster. They could get it for Draxter. It is still an option. The same with Hecarim that we were talking about before.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like they're that must grab right away in the draft as they once had been.
One thing I wonder is that if teams have picked up Darius in the jungle, it does beat Udyr for sure, but instead, Blacklist can be locking that Lilia again. Johnster had a shaky performance in the early game, not gonna lie. But Prussian did mention that Nocturne is available as a counter pick if Draxter wants to pick it or send it to our top side to deal with Ortiz and his Fiora. So let's see what Brady wants to. They could, if they really want to. It is red side, they can flex it.
I think it's a solid pick. I think it's something that you don't have to worry too much about. They're gonna go back to the Udyr though.
Okay.
They're gonna grab Draxter on something like that that's a little bit more easy to be able to execute on. Something that does provide really well a good front line that was missing from AOE.
Yes.
You had talked
100%.
about that last time. That Skytech was purely what they had to index onto to be the front line, to be the one to initiate and to engage with the team. Now they have more tools.
Okay.
Well, at least with what we expect them to draft further from here. They have Udyr. I'm expecting either Rel or Alistar since Thrush has been banned away. Just depends what Blacklist grab for themselves here.
Yeah, Vex also got his comfortable Kaisa as well. That had an outstanding performance in that game one, in the game one of last week against ISU. So AOE kind of, yeah, even though they lost that one, but right now AOE Brady kind of showing their cards, kind of revealing that we're down to go in, we're down to dive. One thing that they have to be mindful of is that they are a very low range composition right now. So if I'm Blacklist, I can actually pivot away and start throwing some sniper rifles into the mix.
Grab Jinx right here. I think you get a Rel.
Jinx
you get a
works.
Jinx. It's a great pick that doesn't really show too much of your hand, and it's something that's good long range to be able to keep AOE Brady at a distance that you want it to be. Then you have two engage tools. You have Lilia. You
Xayah works
have
too.
Rel to be able to work. Xayah does work incredibly well. Plus, now having that self-peel, that makes it so that Amelioration is going to be able to engage with no worries about how Nightstar is going to be playing.
Yes. Now if I'm AOE Brady, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna double down on diving in, or are we going to pivot away and set up some poke? Gotta wonder for AOE Brady. I haven't seen them. Well, we just see Rabbi play Xerath last week. Orianna,
Orianna,
more
I
of a
think
facilitator
the Alistar
too.
would have been a good pick here personally, even though
Would've been okay.
Yeah, you can get the Orianna, something that's safe, standard. It works well with an Udyr too. It's the ball delivery system that you can talk about, even if it's a pretty obvious one. It's something that is going to be able to run back, get a good shockwave, can really help out the team. But I still like the Alistar just to be able to help out with that engage, to be able to help out, provide a little bit more for Draxter. We'll see what Blacklist opt to ban themselves. If they just really try to see if they can focus on making so that Ortiz is going to have those nice, excellent topside matchups.
I mean, you mentioned it, man. Fiora's gonna be the one that's banned away. I didn't think they were gonna ban it, but they definitely are.
Come on, man. After that performance from Ortiz, I
he
feel
got
like
a counter pick, man. If he
did,
was
but you gotta
blinding the
respect that.
Fiora,
You
if he
gotta
was
respect it still.
if he was blinding the Fiora blue side, then I can understand. But your red side, you have free counter pick, man. So I guess it just means that they just don't want to deal with it. I respect that at the end of the day. I also respect Robot picking the Orianna right now because mid lane could be gutted and his pool can be targeted when it came to the second phase. Even though Alistar is gone, there's still a good amount of supports that Skytech could opt for.
So I want to see what they're going to decide to get for SkyTech. I don't want to see some of the squishy bot lanes that we have seen drafted in previous series. I think it was last week that ISU had drafted themselves a Seraphine Bard matchup that we got to see a little bit earlier, and how squishy that is. I don't want something like that.
Mad weak.
Yeah, you need something that can back up a little bit more. And that's probably what AOE Brady are going to grab immediately, depending on what this last ban is going to come in from Blacklist, to make it so that they're going to have that easy bot lane matchup, something probably safe and standard. But Gwen, I'm actually surprised to see the Gwen banned here from Blacklist. I guess since Fiora has been taken away, the thing that they feel most confident going into that, but I don't think it was really worth a ban.
It's not, because you look at the damage profile right now, like Kai'Sa does some magic damage, Orianna's already AP. You're kind of indexing a little bit too much on that magic damage overall if you did lock in that Gwen. So kind of curious, maybe they just don't want to deal with it, because it's still a solid kind of pick on R5. So I respect that a lot when it comes to the Blacklist team. Question though is the takeaway, knowing that you want to get some engage, Rakan's definitely going to do it.
But it is still more on that squishy side that I was kind of talking about. And that's the only thing that has me a little bit worried when it comes to that and how you can play. But it works really well with what they have drafted. This dive into the back line. Kai'Sa going to be able to follow. The Orianna's really just there to be able to help set up Rakan, set up Udyr to be able to get the nice shockwave when you have the quickness that grabs everyone in. Boom, shockwave wombo combo.
It's also a softer form of engage too, because you can just back away. If you pick Alistair, Alex, if you go in, you win. You can't get out. But Rakan, you can be like, you know what? Let me just think about that engage real quick. Let me just slide back to the homies and make sure I'm okay. So I like this little flexibility that AOE Brady's kind of opting for. But Blacklist, this is where they're truly pivoting and we're cutting back all day.
Let's see what we're going to get locked in here for Orisis. He is going to be grabbing himself that blind Aatrox in Solidified. Solidified has pretty much all sorts of tools to be able to now counterpick Orisis into this top lane. No longer feeling pigeonholed with that blind Gwen first pick. Can now really fall back to so many different tools that you want to be able to try to see if you can have the 1v1. You can really win out in this top lane kingdom.
Okay, and even then Solidified's going to pick the Wukong for himself in the counterpick matchup on the top side. So again, Brady indexing on diving in. Blacklist making sure we are cutting back all day. I like this. I like that both these teams are a lot more balanced compared to game one. So it all just comes down to execution. But if we're going to be maintaining what happened in game one, Blacklist kind of fumbled on that execution early in the early game, whereas Brady, they kind of conceded. The only difference is that the only difference in game one is that their composition did not scale. They are not good in team fights because they don't have anyone to facilitate those team fights and to control the way fights are going to be going. And they're basically a glass cannon. This time, no, AOE Brady, look at this. It's a pretty balanced composition.
This composition, yes. Yeah, and this, I love this. Give me this.
Yeah.
Always.
Give me
always
this.
This
I
is what
want
we want.
this.
Yeah, I wish it was like that. What is it? The one meme of, what is it, Markiplier? It's like, yes, I love this. Give me this. And then it's the next thing. It shows their flash off. No, this is disgusting. Don't give me this. It's like, this is a good draft. This has got a lot of different tools that they can use to be able to fall back onto. But that's also not to say that Blacklist don't have similar tools to be able to utilize. Having some split push and Orisis still on this Aatrox, but also having this team fight, the late game scaling in Azaya, in a Victor, plus having Lilia and having a Rel that can be used as tools to make sure you're setting up fights.
Yeah, both got good, nice, slices of pizza, man. I'm down for all these flavors. It's all just kind of based on,
Wait, how many kind of flavors of pizza do you have? I have.
Oh, these are just there's basically just two pizzas, just that they have 5 different toppings. This is 5 different toppings.
Would you
this is
consider
5
that
different
a
toppings.
different flavor? I would just consider that pizza with different toppings. It's not.
Whatever. Pizza with different toppings, whatever works. But regardless, I'm down for both. The question is, which one am I eating like 2 slices of this pie, or am I eating like 3 slices of this pie? That's always the question when you got 2 good pies that you want to go with.
Yeah, and it's going to be difficult. I think that with both teams, it's going to come down to the early jungle. I think Johnster, we need to see him have a much better performance than he did in game 1. They were able to fall back on Reese's having so much dominating presence on that map, especially where whatever lane you put that Fiora. That's what they were able to fall back onto, that eventually only on Victor was able to scale up, do a lot of damage. They need to make sure that Johnster's not falling behind, because this time around, you're not going to be able to have that luxury.
Honestly, if I'm Blacklist, man, I'm actually okay waiting it out. I actually don't want Johnson to make mad early.
Well, no.
aggressive
I'm
play-
just saying,
aggressive plays.
but don't fall behind. He was
But don't fall
0-3.
behind. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
Make sure y'all just stabilize. And that's the biggest thing I would say with this composition, because you have Victor, who will be able to just outscale and just poke everyone else out. You also got Aatrox, who will be able to deal with the dive, because Wukong will just slowly lose his scaling later on unless he starts snowballing early. So this is where Blacklist, they have to play the patient game. Discipline is the word that they need to recognize when it comes to this game too. Game 1, they didn't really have a lot of it because they made a lot of individual mistakes. This time, though, they could have that.
They could. And I want to see how AOE Brady are going to be able to utilize a little bit more of this. I mean, sure, some patience, but also being aggressive in the right instances.
Yeah,
Because Blacklist
killer instinct.
themselves, yeah, exactly. Like, there you go, nice pun. But Blacklist, because as you had mentioned, they need to make sure they're playing patiently, and we saw that Nightstar gets a little bit too antsy, a little bit too far forward, can get punished. Johnster, same kind of thing that can be punished, and if AOE Brady are waiting for that perfect moment to be able to punish them, this is the composition to utilize to do that.
Experience plays a big thing, man. Rob, Bob, and Vex, and a lot of the crew on AOE Brady have a lot of it. And it goes to show, I mean, we saw the development from week 1 going into last week, and they definitely have improved. This is the game where they can kind of just secure that they are still improving, even though Clam isn't on the roster for tonight. Drax is the coach, man. As long as he can just do his job, make sure he leads the 4 to victory, it should be good.
But the thing is, talking about being able to grow and being able to learn, Blacklist are a team that have been doing so as well. We've been seeing as the season continues. They started off really rocky. They started off with it not looking so hot, and then slowly they have been learning how to be able to play certain matches, how to be able to learn, and maybe we can see that in this series. If we can see Johnster Nicer playing more patiently, making sure they're not stepping out of line, that shows us this growth that maybe Blacklist are a team that we need to start paying more attention to.
Let's hope so, man. This is the second half of Upsurge Premier League. They only got, what, 2 more weeks left? I think one more week left? Something like that. Yeah, so they only have basically they actually only have tomorrow to just kind of secure their spots in playoffs. If they do win this, they do secure second place, which will be good, and they will be able to make it as long as they don't lose tomorrow. But that is the plan for Blacklist, but also the plan for AOE. Like, both these teams really want this win because it sets themselves up in a pretty solid way.
Well, right now, Omni, Robbie Bob, kind of trading a little bit of damage back and forth.
Throwing
But with the
jabs.
corrupting pot, you're going to have Robbie Bob be able to heal back up and force Omni underneath the turret, making sure that you're getting some sort of control. Might even, oh no, not actually going to step out to be able to place that ward right outside of the red buff. He wants to be able to get, now that Nightstar showed his face, he backs out.
Should reveal intel that Blacklist is going to be starting on the bottom side, though, so while Jungle starting on the opposite ends. I like that Draxter is doing a solo, is doing a no leash clear. It's going to be working out better for him, knowing that Solidified wants that lane priority so he can actually get this kind of pick matchup for himself, but he's kind of losing early on, man.
Right, I'm like, this ain't looking so hot for him. I'm surprised Reese's didn't try to press that issue a little bit further because he had a good trade. He already had the Conqueror stacked up to be able to get that full bit of damage onto this Wukong.
Yeah. And along with that, Orsi's has just better sustain in his kit compared to Wukong. So, level 2 is going to be hidden too, Orsi's. Oh, he's not going to be looking for a punish. Okay.
I was
right.
expecting him to stand right in front of his minion waves and be like, nah, you get nothing now.
That's what I was saying too, but I guess not. He was like, you know what? I'm going to let you walk into me and get this optimal punish.
Oh, look at that! Okay, maybe that's how you play it.
My man, you got flash, dog. That's on your D key. You can hit that and make sure you get out of it, but I guess you just want to take it.
Yeah, no, you know what? Sometimes it do be like that. And first blood picked up by Arusi's. Well, I was wondering how this top lane matchup was going to go. I was thinking maybe, you know, it's going to be a little bit more even. You have two. Oh, okay.
But wow. We missed the what? All right, best of 3 now, guys. Let's. Okay, I'm leaving Robin Bob fine. Okay.
Whoa.
All right, best of 3 on the top side, best of 3 in the mid lane. Let's go at it.
So
y'all want to fight early on.
See this.
I want to see
this,
this.
but I can see it on my other monitor. And Prussian is losing his mind. He is. He was just looking at this like, what is going on?
What's going on, bro?
You know, it's encapsulating how I'm feeling right now. I might not sound like it, but I'm just sitting here like,
I thought you revel in chaos, man. What you doing?
I do. But at the same time, I'm also just like, when did this happen? When did they suddenly? Yeah, when did they decide that they're just gonna play complete chaos and complete just try to style over each other? And look at this. Solidifier was able to get that solo kill back on
look at
top
this
lane,
wave,
but now he's
man.
he's 2 levels down and completely denied.
Yo, feels bad for the Monkey
He's got
King.
6 CS, man. 6.
Oh, he looking like a poor boy.
He ain't no king. He's a pauper right there. He's
Yes,
nothing
sir.
for himself.
Yes, sir. Looking like a peasant on this top lane because right now Orsi's trying to make sure he have a kingdom being built up.
Well, he is going to back off this one, be able to get a cheater recall off for himself, since it's going to be a slow push coming back.
Up.
Exactly. That's what I was just about to say. It's a slow push coming back towards him. This is the perfect time to be able to get one of those LS cheater recalls in for himself. Even if he's not getting much off of it, it's still that little bit of an advantage that he's going to now have over Solidified when he finally shows back up into lane.
I don't know if I'm hungry, but I'm definitely liking Blacklist's piece of the pie right now. They got some better toppings right now, Alex. But one thing I do like on AOE, though, is that Vex does have that CS lead against Nightstar. That is something that is working out well. Along with that, Drax are having a CS lead in the jungle, too. So that's something that they can't have. But look at Oris. He's many trading the minion wave, and he's still winning.
God, and that was a great bit of chains right there to be able to connect on a Solidified when he had already used his dash, the decoy, to try to be able to get away. He was able to get him wall invisible.
Yeah, super good stuff. Right now, though, AOE, they want to see if they can punish Nightstar.
Then I just talk about this. This could be something that could be punished. Nightstar's position. You even have Rel on the wrong side, trying to be able to show up, even with the track repel. It does nothing. And now Rel having to scamper back over to the turret.
The only Draxler blew that flash too. Nightstar didn't blow his, but does mean that this dragon should be able to go to the AOE team, as Draxler and Skyts are going to be setting this up. I don't think you should be contesting Blacklist.
I don't think that they actually are contesting. Look at the pathing coming in from Johnster. Instead, it's actually going to be, it was a potential play mid lane while that was being taken. Maybe thinking that they could punish Robbie Bob, who does not have his flash up still. Remember, way back when there was the 1v1 fight mid lane, used that to try to be able to get away from Omli, who flashed then to be able to get the auto attack kill onto him. And that is why we're seeing still that Robbie Bob has to play so much more passively and defensively to be able to stay away from Omli, even if it's not necessarily the biggest loss early game in the 1v1 fight. It's enough to give Victor control.
What I would like, though, Alex, is that Johnster moves himself way up to the top lane to do the same thing that they did on the early waves against Solidified. Make sure that you just zone him away from these, from all that gold, because he did manage to pick all of it up. I think it was a missed opportunity from Blacklist, man. I think he could have kept on making sure Solidified doesn't get his cash money, but instead managed to claim back up. And look at the CS, man. He's kind of back in the game.
He is back in the game. It's still leveled down to Reese's. Would
that
be a
EXP help?
potential fight right now. You can already see it with chains connecting. Going to be able to dash away, but he's still only level 5. Not actually going to have that Cyclone to feel strong enough against Reese's, while Johnster sneaks away the red buff right underneath Draxter's nose.
All right, sneaky, looking like kind of thieves out here. Jungle's on the top side, which means that they may want to play for it. Mid lane, one-on-one.
Yeah, look at the damage coming in with the Chaos Orb, and Johnster's on the other side, flashing in,
man.
lilting Lullaby. No shockwave today to kill for Lilia.
Johnster, you cheating, bro. Right about one-on-one. Hey, yo, Drax, you kind of cheating too, or season one-on-one. Both junglers trying to influence solo lanes.
Yeah, but I think one of those worked out a little bit better. Johnster was able to show up, get the kill, while top lane, Orices was able to get out of there without even having to use the flash.
All right. The thing we credit AOE is that early game, and right now they're kind of flubbing it. We can have a little bit of replay of what happened in the bottom side again. No, in the mid lane. Yeah. Boom. Bop.
Got bopped.
Get out of here.
No flash. Look at how long that was still left. It still had about, what was that? I'd say 45 seconds until that would come back up. So you had plenty of time to be able to punish that. And even still, it's only now back off cooldown all the way from that level 1 play. Now Johnster trying to help out bot lane, but they already got the kill they need to. There's no lilting Lullaby. The damage comes in from Nightstar, but Johnster's level 7. He's trying to see if he can chase down onto Vex, who has no mana, but unfortunately not going to be able to get in range. And now that Draxter's here, they have to peel back.
Yeah, shout out to Vex, though, man. He's still maintaining the CS lead. 20 CS up in the 2-on-2. Vex definitely wants to take this W. want to make sure they don't go down 0-2, and I'm loving it so far. But Robbie Bob, he's kind of being the liability on the squad here. We've been speaking about this guy a lot, and how skilled he is. But right now, he's not looking too hot, sitting there 0-2. He has to see if he can pick himself back up.
But it's also an Orianna, and Orianna is always one of those champions where I feel like you can punish her, you can gank her all you want, but it doesn't matter as long as you can land one good shockwave, especially with the composition that AOE Brady have drafted for themselves. That is something that they can still always rely on. It's more now how Blacklist are going to be able to utilize the lead that they have gained off of Robbie Bob. Can they transition that into the spot lane, especially that is starting to fall so far behind Vex and Skytech?
If I'm Blacklist, though, Alex, I got to make sure Oris is the pop-off player because he did in Game 1. He can definitely do in Game 2. And once Oris is basically a beast, Vex can't be dealing with him in a one-on-one. Nice star. You only 6, man.
He's got flash and heal, though. So, not going to use either of them. They're going to be able to get the Ferromancy with the
Vex
Track
gets
Repel.
done.
That's a lot of damage.
Okay.
But they're still out of there. They still are alive. Vex did have to blow the heal, flash, and use the ultimate to be able to survive, though.
Yeah, a little bit of a question mark for the bottom side of AOE, but this is where our sights are currently on the top side. Potential 2-on-2 that could be occurring.
Look, the Cyclone World Ender coming in from Orisi trying to be able to get away. They got at least Traxxer put
Flipod's winning.
A little bit of damage coming in from Orisi trying to be able to get away. Nice flash to make sure the flash coming in from Orisi still alive, but barely. And they got the kill for Johnster on the other side. Solidified trying to be able to see if he can get the dive. Now the Turk's helping out. Nice Darkened Blade, but it's going to be a 2-for-1 trade.
And Johnster gives it away back to Orisi's too, so on the top side, it's still towards his favor, man. Blacklist, they're coming out on top in some of these small little interactions. Bottom side too, Nice are now 6. They should be able to fight in these 2-on-2s, knowing that Vex doesn't have that killer instinct. Blacklist got a lot of tools if they want to play with it, but remember what we said, Alex. All they need to do is stabilize. They don't need to go for these early fights. They don't need to, try a snowball. As long as they're sitting good, they're good.
I'm looking at that gold, Will. That looks pretty stabilized to me right now. That looks like it's not really falling too far behind for the side of Blacklist. And as long as they can maintain this, it is going to be an advantage. But they have to be careful because the one lane that is not maintaining is the spot lane. And look at this. They have the quickness. They already got the Feather Storm out. The Track Repel not going to be enough even with the TP. It's way too late. It's double TP. Shockwave on top. But they got the kill on the Skytech. Trying to see if they can turn it around with the help of the gravity field on top of Vex. But the Binion block makes it so they can't follow it up. With the laser pointer only wants to be able to chase him down. No mana left for Kaisa. Vex trying to be able to get away, but the laser pointer needs one more dash. Erases over the wall, not going to be able to connect it, and even only can he get the blind? No, he can't. Vex was able to sidestep it.
Oh man, only one. That's so bad. He was like, "You're gonna walk up again," but Vex already knew. AOE finally fighting back on the bottom end and punishing the weak bottom side that is Blacklist. Vex is the one who's been outperforming on this AOE squad. I am loving it all day, every day. CSC on his end, 1-0-2, 106 CS by 12 minutes. Man, right now AOE, even though we're crediting Orisi's on and his skill, Vex is the one who's stepping up.
Moderation, he's the one engaged in only 2, taking a lot of damage, trying to be able to escape this one with little mana for Victor. Laser pointer damage, though, onto Traxxer. They have a little bit. The shield was enough to be able to keep him alive. But look at Nicer on the other side, trying to see if they can get the re-engage. The flag coming in to be able to try to get the kill. They're going to be able to get the 1-4-2. But look at Robbie Bob. But look at Skytech. No mana to speak of. No health to be able to work with. Robbie Bob knows that he is pretty much doom and dead. So instead, they might just have to be able to give over the kill, realizing that it's better not to try to have the full-on fight. He gets executed. I thought that the kill credit would still be there, and they got the kill on a Night Star too.
This bottom lane diff is coming on big, Alex. We got a bot lane kingdom being established on the AOE team. Vex, 2-0-2. And he's looking pretty good. Top side, we have a 1-on-1.
World Ender for Alt in the Cyclone, getting a lot of damage coming in from the Darkened Blade. He wants to be able to chase this continually. Try to see if they can get a little bit more of the Darkened Blade to be able to heal him up. But instead, they back off of the trade, just trading the 2 alts with one another.
Both these teams are getting mad bloody. They licking their wounds right now as AOE are starting this dragon by themselves. And remember that TPs aren't on the table. It's going to be a 3-on-3 or a 2-on-2. One thing that's important, though, is that Robbie Bob is in the mid lane. Regardless, though, they're going to be taken as Johnson was unable to show up in time for the steal. One thing that's working out for AOE is this neutral game as mid lane. Have another one-on-one.
Only taking
1-on-2
a lot
now.
of damage, even with the shockwave, but now with Wilting Lullaby and the help of a laser, only gets a kill, they get the charge out of the Rift Herald, and they're going to get a lot more gold back into this Victor's pocket.
Man, this game is getting real close, Alex.
It is.
8-9.
Oh,
Only
Johnston.
1K. Oh, Johnston?
Yeah, there's no Cyclone
Oh,
Force
man.
solidified, so Johnston
fast,
is going to be
yeah.
able to get out of there.
Yeah, 4 legs is better than 2. Alex, I don't know if you know that, but, you know, prancing is better too.
It's more, but not necessarily fast.
For Johnston, it definitely is. You see him waddle away.
It just depends. It depends. You know. But
Bottom
right now,
side.
yeah, I was
Bottom
gonna say
side
this
though,
bottom
man.
side that's the big
2
thing
level
right
lead?
now. And
2 level lead?
Vex is a player that we've seen AOE Brady rely on before,
Bruh.
making sure that this Kaisa is in that position to be the carry. And keep in mind, Robbie Bob was not having a wonderful time in that mid lane. And now look at his KDA. It's sure 3-4 and 1, but it's better than the 0-2 that it was just a little bit of time ago.
Definitely a good thing for Bob, but Alex, dog, 2 level lead on bottom lane, man. That's something you don't see every day. I'm being
that's
honest.
rough. That's rough
Yeah.
for sure.
Usually you see in solo lanes or jungle, you rarely see in the 80 carry position. Nice are getting mad pressured right now. He got to dig himself out of this hole.
It all goes back to that earlier play where he stepped out of line just a bit too far, feeling like he could try to see if he can clear out some of the minion waves, but you gotta give respect over to Draxler, give respect over to SkyTech on how fast they can rotate around the map. Now, only getting the shockwave on top of him. Nice engage, but it's going to be a trade of mid lane for mid lane, while top lane has the fight coming in 2v1. Or he's got to be careful. He can't heal up quite enough with the help of the Grievous
Bottom
wounds
lane
to stop
too?
him. Yeah, bottom lane too. Nice star. Oh,
Killer
there it
instinct.
is. Come on, use it, baby. Go for it, Vex. There it is. Getting the heal and the solo kill underneath the turret.
Man, we getting fights in all lanes right now, Alex. You about to have another fight in the mid lane too, because Johnson, you about to get tackled, brother.
Entrance. They got the flash in with the bear slap. Goes golden to be able to survive, but
I
it
ain't gonna
doesn't
do
matter.
anything, dog.
They're gonna die here.
I ain't gonna
They're
do anything.
Oh, wait a
wait.
minute.
Wait,
oh,
wait.
baby.
Oh,
How is he alive? He's got
run.
the speed. Lilting
Run,
Lullaby.
Johnson.
TP. They've put him to sleep, and they've got the re-engaged Ferromancy. He's burning down. They've taken him out with the help of the Dream Particle. The Drax is gonna be taken out as well. How'd they turn it around? I don't know, baby, but they did it.
I thought Johnson was going to fall away, but he was like, nah, man, I'm going to run my butt out of here, and they make a solid turnaround. But regardless, end of the day, we have to highlight the one who's still winning. It's still Vex on the bottom side. Before we take a look at that, though, his top side is the one. Wait, man, we got man fights in many places at the end of the day, but one person that we have to put credit on is Vex on that 80 carry position. Because we talk about Orsies, but he got answered. He got tackled down by Draxler. No one was tackling Vex right now. It's the same exact situation from Game 1 and Game 2. The difference is that Blacklist needs to find a way to see if they can break down this 80 carry.
And here, Johnster, how he survives. The stopwatch clutch
fast,
just
man.
in time to be able
Shield
to
smite
survive.
up too?
And then getting the prance stacks to be able to get away. Oh, man.
See him walk away. He also had to sleep too. Ooh. It's a fast deer.
Ooh,
Robbie
he
Bun?
jumped back to life.
Okay,
Chaos
alright.
Storm not going to be able to get the kill, but look at that. Look how low each mid laner had gotten there. Imagine if there was a Jinx in this game with a rocket. That would have been brutal. As Nightstar, this Zaya is not having a good time. Featherstorm trying to dodge away from the Cyclone, but you're dead. Flash over the wall. Flash reciprocated with a nice smack from the staff.
No burning mad resource for nothing, man. Just accept the death that you got, Nightstar. Keep that flash on your pocket because Boots 1, you're an 80 carry. It's not going to matter. 80 carries naturally have lower move speed compared to the rest of the cast on Summoner's Rift. But still, AOE, they still have a slight little goal lead in favor for themselves, and I'm surprised it's solidified as answer back. Robbie Bob.
No flash, TP behind. No Cyclone Force solidified. So he's not actually going to have the best engage possible. And you can see nice Magnustorm lilting Lullaby on a Draxler. They're trying to see if they can follow up to be able to get the kill, but he's still alive.
Robbie, no
Lullaby taking a little
shockwave.
bit of damage. Look at Vex, though.
Vex
Vex is
here.
the one coming in with the killer instinct. They've taken out Draxler, but they're going to lose everyone else. They've got the damage coming in, but they've turned it around. Here come the kills in for AOE. All on Vex, being able to constantly assault them with all the hails of damage coming in from him, and they've gotten a rampage out of Vex.
Blacklist want to take that fight, but you know what? Nightstar was already out of the fight already because you got assassinated by Solidified. You can't be looking for these fights, Blacklist, and this is where we talk about discipline. They have to recognize that we can't be looking for these fights. Look at them trying to opt in for it. Orsi's activates the ultimate and goes deep in, but this is a 4-on-4. Eventually becomes a 4-on-5.
Exactly.
Vex comes in hot. He's like, you know what? This is my dinner. This is my slice of pie. He gets all of it.
He's in the middle of them. Look how little damage he had taken initially from that entire fight.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, Blacklist needs to just chill. That's one thing we've been saying about this team is that they need to be the ones. If they're not doing that, then they're not going to be able to scale. Look at Nightstar. He's 1-6.
He died again while we were watching that replay, by the way.
Yeah.
He got solo killed, and Vex gets himself a solo kill, a 1v2.
He's fine off
He's
this
got a
one.
bit of
Oh.
damage. He might die, though.
Oh.
One more Q, the passive.
Okay.
It's burning him. Flash in from
baby.
Only to shut him down.
Oh, that's a lot of money on Omli's pocket. He's definitely going to enjoy that. Good old bounty in, but that still doesn't solve the issue of the later stages of the game where you have to deal with Vex. And along with that, you have to get Nightstar out of dodge.
Orsi's wants to be able to go for the 1v2, but they lost Johnson on the other side of the fight. All the while, Orsi's might be able to get the 1v1 fight. Nah, Drax is going to be able to show up to make sure that they got a double kill for him.
Alex, I want to let everyone on the broadcast know. We got 36 kills, 35 kills.
Not even 20
19 minutes in.
Yup.
The hell is that?
Yup.
The hell is that, guys?
Yup. They are not relenting. This is a bloodbath. This is craziness. They've got another Rift Herald right shy of having the Baron spawn itself. You got 8 stacks of a Magi for Robbie Bob for some reason.
He wants to read some Harry Potter, man.
Yeah, he does. Man, he does. It's a lot of chapters in that book, because I don't even think that's the big issue here. It's all Vex here. 5-1-5. Poor Nightstar is 1-6 on this Zaya. He ain't having a game this time around.
The issue is that all these fights are in favor for AOE because they're just clutching it out, man. Even though Robbie Bob has been taking a lot of heat, he does have 7 kills under his pocket. Like, we've been hyping up Vex all day, and yeah, he's going to be probably the biggest person who can carry because he has the gigantic CS lead legit near Flame Horizoning. Oh, they want to go.
Flash in. Nightstar, you're dead. Just
leave
him for dead.
going.
Don't even try to save him. Flash away, but
yeah.
you're dead too. If you get dove, they're not actually going to look for the full.
Vex don't care.
He's going to look for the dive. The exhaust will dissuade him, but Skytech wants himself a kill. Getting the grand entrance, not connecting, but it doesn't matter. They got the kill 7th time onto Nightstar.
Nightstar has no more lunch money, guys. I will let y'all know.
Uh-oh. Ooh,
Solidified.
Though. Getting jumped on Lilting Lullaby. They've got the prance damage, and
more fighting.
Dragster getting the flash out of Johnster.
We clowning.
Trying to see if they can continue the flash in with the shockwave onto
We
Only.
still
Take
clowning.
him out. With Johnster, not this time. You're not going to be able to escape that time around.
There's a pull. But yeah, but this is where we get pulling, man. All this clown fiesting, all this fighting means that AOE, they're still coming out on top. No jungler around for 30 seconds on Blacklist. It's going to be on Orsi's amelioration.
They don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming.
Man.
Orsi's popped the world
can't
ender.
do this,
but
bro.
look at that. The heal
Can
from
he?
the Gore Drinker.
Oh,
Dragster's
he
trying to be
can.
able to get away. Vex is
They
shot
got
down, and they continue the fight.
Man.
Trying to get Orsi's into the backline, getting himself more to heal up. Cut down Robbie
man.
Bob. And the Shurelia's battle song has been sung by Skytech as he tried to escape from Orsi's with the help of the Blast Cone. And somehow Blacklist are able to stop AOE from taking the Baron. Then they started up.
A game here, Alex. What the hell is going on, man? We slugging left and right. We got 44 kills on deck now. Solidified has the ult. He doesn't have the ultimate, but they want to go for this. We have another Baron contest coming on in. It's going to be AOE side.
Reese's taking a lot of damage too. No world ender this time around. Trying to heal up, but the Baron's doing a lot to him. They got to keep Aatrox alive. It's going to be the engage on top of Solidified. He's taking a lot of damage. Finally shut down by Nightstar. And the Baron is so low. It's going to be a smite fight. He doesn't even try. Instead, they're trying to get the fight on the other side to see if they can take out Only, but he's still alive. The Shockwave not going to be able to connect. They've got the kill with the laser pointer. The Baron on 4 members of Blacklist as they escape from the battle yet again.
Oh my god, man. Yo, y'all need to chill, man. What happened in lobby? I want to ask.
There was a 5,000 gold lead like a minute ago. What the hell happened?
Don't ask me, man. They just slugging it
You're
left
the
and right.
color caster. You're supposed to tell me.
I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell them. I'm trying to tell the entire audience that these two teams need to chill. They keep on fighting. I can't try and tell them to stop fighting. They do. They want to fight. I'm trying to stop 2 freaking young boys from throwing fists, and they keep on doing it. At this point, it's just depending on lucky situations, man. There's so many small little interactions that occur when you're fighting at this level where sometimes you got ultimate, sometimes you got flash, sometimes you just dodge in a freaking skill shot and you make sure you stay alive. That's basically what this game is coming down to. I can't calculate all of this, ladies and gentlemen, because all they doing is swinging. If you get a lucky stray hit, then that works.
Damn, this game. Holy hell. What the hell did we sign up for?
Not this.
I don't know.
Definitely
man.
not this.
I'm kind of enjoying it. It is wild. It is weird. It is all over the place.
I want to go to a different parallel universe and just watch a nice, clean game of League of Legos.
Yeah, too bad. That ain't happening today.
Nope.
We're getting chaos. We're getting them throwing fists all over the place. We're not even 25 into the game, and we have 44 kills here. This is wild, and looking at the build paths, looking at what everyone is starting to get for themselves, you're starting to see that. Sure, you have the elements that we were talked about for AOE, where they're going to be a lot harder to be able to fully kill, and even seeing that Skytech is working towards that Banshee's Veil to be able to wait. Yeah, he's looking for the full engage, but look at Vex and how much damage he took on the other side. Even with the great quickness, they've lost Skytech before he's able to show up. Shockwave combination, they've got Rel, but look at Reese's. He's chasing down Robbie Bob and Vex, and they've got a lot of damage. Finally, the takedown solidified with a double kill coming in from Homely, but with the Baron still on their heads, with a Canyon minion in mid lane. AOE have to go all the way back to base.
It's still a 2 for 2 at the end of the day, too, man. They try to solidify Skytech for nice start and amelioration. Orsi's doing mad work on that back end, but that was solidified in his TP. AOE is like, you know what? Let's get a little fancy up in this piece. Let me just TP on the back side and let me see if I can land it. But this is where all these ultimates being laid on top of each other, we don't even know who landed on what at this point. All we know is that Orsi's got to the back line and Only is still alive. That's what came out at the end of it.
Didn't you ask for patience? Patience
I asked for
from
patience,
AOE.
man.
Work together. Find the picks.
They
Skytech
did.
winning way before Solidified was there, though. That's the big problem. And now they've been punished. TP in, coming in, trying to see if Reese can get into the backline onto Vex yet again, but he's blown up. And this is that patience, but they still got the kill on the Vex. They got a lot of damage on Skytech. Little thing Lola by the flash is not going to be enough to be able to escape from them. They've got 2 kills. Drax are trying to be able to get away. Robbie Bob with the shockwave, not going to be able to connect with anybody. They already got the shutdown they needed to. As Robbie Bob, he's completely cut away from the team. Solidified in the mid lane all by himself. And they've got minions starting to push up. Wukong trying to be able to escape. They've slowed him down. They've got the damage in with the Chaos Door. And they've tripped them apart with an unstoppable Only.
Alex, they can end. They can actually. Rybob doesn't have Shockwave.
No, he doesn't.
They don't have it. They don't have Flash either, though, but they could definitely look for it if they want to.
Bob, can you pull off a miracle?
Nice,
look at the damage coming in from Nightstar. He might be 2-8, but he's got the damage to be able to focus away. Robbie Bob minions are here. You got 2 seconds till Skytech's backed up. Draxter's about to be able to get up 2. They are going to be able to scare away Blacklist. The game's not quite over.
God, okay. Run. All right. We gotta chill.
Robbie Bob has to.
Please chill. Stop teleporting out everywhere.
Oh my God!
My God!
Where is he? Okay, Vex. No. Look, Robbie Bob. He's about to get TP up. Are they gonna stop the backs? Come on, stop him.
Oh God. There's no wards. Okay, he can't TP. But Klotzo's on the table.
What?
In a minute 33.
The actual bloody hell is going on?
Okay, Cloud Drake's gonna be on the table. Baron's going to be on the table. One of the teams got to take one or the other. We know Blacklist does not want to get AoE that Cloud Soul, but Baron might help him end the game. If I'm Blacklist, you get this Baron, give him that Cloud Soul. But if I'm AoE, I'm actually okay with either or. Biggest thing is these team fights. Have to be so mindful of these situations, man. We can't keep track of all these summer spells because everyone's blowing it left and damn right.
Every single time they're back up, they just use them immediately. Reese's now trying to see if he can defend underneath this tower by himself. You saw the Shirley's battle song already popped. Reese's is by himself, has the Gore Drinker, but it's not going to be enough. They've cheesed him. They've got minions to spare in the bot lane, and this could be the back door.
You're not base racing Blacklist. You better not base. That's right.
You better get home.
Back
what are you
off.
doing,
Get
Nightstar?
home. Get home. But with AoE, they're going to be looking to just retreat out of here too. Maybe Amelioration can get to the flank because she's trying to make a run through. on a 4, but instead they're
Robbie
getting back
Bob
off.
should have canceled the backs. He should have thrown his life at that one. 'Cause I think
100%
they
agree.
could have won.
They still have a numbers advantage though, and they can
do
still
for
pressure away from
20
this Baron.
seconds. 20 seconds until we have Orizi's backup. But that's not going to be long
pull
enough
it.
for them to be able to burn down this Baron. Even with Vex, I don't think that they could have peeled quickly enough. Instead, I think this is the right call. Try to peel back. You can burn down the dragon far faster.
Get the dragon and then set yourselves up for the Baron fight, because your ultimate's going to be coming off cooldown real
There it
soon. Drax is soloing it, but look at it. Blacklist, they're starting up this
They're
Baron as
peeling.
well.
Oh, they're peeling
trying to
because they
make
realize.
for it.
Look at Orizi's. He's
Oh,
booking
they
it
give
towards
it
the
up.
top lane, but he's got a while till he's going to be able to get there.
okay.
It's going to be the peel back coming in from Blacklist, trying to make sure that they're not completely surrendering everything that they have been able to gain.
AOE couldn't call a Blacklist buff, man. All Blacklist want to do is make sure that AOE doesn't get either objective, because if they do, that means they can try and just force a stalemate. But look at that cheeky ward that AOE has. They have complete vision of this mid-ration. He's trying to see if he can play intercept, though.
Going to be able to dash over the wall, trying to see if they can get the flank coming in from Skytech. He has that battle song and he has the quickness. That is a great position to be in, especially with the help of the Banshee.
Only one sleep.
There's no way to be able to stop
the right
them.
one.
They've only got the one sleep, and you're right. The engage comes in from Solidified. He's still alive on the
low.
other side, but look at Robbie Bob taking a lot of damage. They're going to be able to get this
Oh,
double kill
man.
if they need to.
Blacklist!
They've lost the backline, and there it is! Blacklist have completely routed AOE Brady. The 2-0. Everyone's wrong on who was able to get it. It's going to be Blacklist now marching up mid lane to be able to take this series.
Skytech a little too late, and I thought that sleep on Robbie wasn't going to be committed, but they do. And Blacklist, it's only Skytech left, but 4 members are on the table.
He's got to
Good
pull off
luck,
a miracle
sir.
at this
No,
point.
he understands.
There's no
he understands.
way.
He ain't going to stop this minion wave. Blacklist, yo,
They
everyone
did it.
on the analyst desk is
They did it.
molding.
2-0.
Everyone at the desk is molding.
Blacklist are going to be able to get themselves the victory over AOE Brady.
Oh my god! I can only imagine Ravish beat down in Prussian's face after this when we get to say Blacklist 2-0 to AOE, and this is all because Clan was not here. Drexler had to fill in, and Game 2 became a gigantic clown fiesta that was a back and forth jab fest left and right. Throw haymakers at the face, give each other black eyes, make each other look like the black eyes piece, because all we were doing was boom, boom, and powing all day, Alex.
That was a game, for sure. That was definitely not what I expected going into Game 2. Game 1, there were some mistakes, but it was a lot more tempered. They understood the limitations. This one, we were watching a fighting game, man. It was just punches everywhere. They were just rumbling no matter what. They were blow for blow every single moment that they could.
The only thing we couldn't determine is who won neutral, because everyone was just going back and forth, man.
There was no neutral.
There was no neutral. It was just advantage or disadvantage all day. Holy cow, man! Blacklist finally clutching it off of a slaughter fest. But if we want to rewind back, those games were clean, man. But we only have a short break. But
yeah, you know what?
My God, I just can't wait to see what the analysts got to say about that game, man.
Here, Will. You know what? And why don't we give it over to them? Why don't we let them discuss that 2-0 victory for Blacklist? So, Ravish, take it away.
In the words of Prussian in the final team fight, what are they doing? Oh my god, what are they doing? They had dragons set up. What are they doing? End quote. Beatdown, Prussian. What were they doing? You know what, Beatdown? I'll let you start first. Prussian, I'll let you collect your thoughts and breathe a little bit.
This is in some ways a repeat of Game 1, because I think aside from some early unfortunate gameplay there from Solidified, I think early game generally leans towards AOE Brady, just that you have a better scaling composition. For the most part, the carries got the gold that they needed. Vex, at some point pretty early on, Flame Horizon Nightstar, like things were looking fine, all things considered. But then much like last game, you had an advantage, and you didn't quite use it correctly. I would love to get into it, but I'm just so ready for Prussian to talk about it.
So I don't consider myself a very negative person by nature, but whenever I come onto the UPL stream, teams have a propensity, and we were talking about this, how I can never expect something good to happen at any moment. So we're talking about like this dragon setup later in the game, and even here, Drax are hovering towards the bottom side. I mean, Johnster always has the advantage, or he can always get away. But at least if you hover towards the top side, like this doesn't happen, right? You don't get TP'd on, you don't get turned on. And I mean, this was like a catastrophic throw. It just gave Blacklist like reign over the map. Orsees at the Baron. I literally said right before it happened, Orsees is going to kill everyone because Wukong is dead and doesn't have anti-heal, or no one else has anti-heal other than Wukong. And then at the Dragon fight, if you can take the fight fast and you can take the 4v5 on the Baron, it's fine. But another thing that I was talking about, they can't do it in time. They don't have enough. And then, I mean, this is just terrible. I mean, Skytech was basically in Africa during that Dragon fight. He wasn't capable of following up on the engage. And I have nothing else to say. Take it away. I'm sorry, guys.
I think one thing I want to add also that was really unfortunate is that Only gets propelled into relevancy because of a fine early game, right, on the Victor. But the problem is Vex gets a little too hyphy, we'll call it, in the mid lane.
He ints! Just say it, he ints!
All right, yes, you're right, Freshen. I'm sorry. He ints. And the problem is the Flame Horizon that I talked about, all the kills he got, means that was 1,000 gold shutdown. That sure, I mean, the Rel didn't get it, but now the Victor got it. And as a result, Only became extremely relevant from that point forward. And all the itemization that came through from that meant that in those skirmishes, like you even saw it in the last couple of clips at that point, he was so strong. Like if he was allowed to maneuver the fight for more than a couple of seconds, he also had a big impact as well as Oraces.
Like moths to a flame, the lightning struck onto the magnet storm. And as soon as they were clumped together, they were that quickly blown up as well in the snap of a finger. And for that reason, Oraces is our MVP for the day. Game number 1, just absolutely without question, in my opinion, brought that game back single-handedly. Every team fight, insane flanks, and doing disgusting amounts of damage. Game number 2 as well. We saw the clips be like we saw him just like even I was saying it. I was like, hey, you know what? I forgot that he only has one item. No, I remember that he had one item, but I forgot that he was Aatrox.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
So
and Aatrox is that kind of champ.
I gotta agree, and I have to also give shout out to Orse's psionic powers for just validating the fact that these people aren't just building anti-heal. Like, it kind of blew my mind. Orse's is the only threat on this team, and the only person that has it is Wukong. Orianna, no anti-heal. Vex, the carry who gets all of the gold, who's Flame Horizon, the enemy 80 carry, he just doesn't have anti-heal. He has a Collector. He has a Phantom Dancer. Like, I'm just not getting it, guys. Like, I'm just going to be honest. I'm a little bit shell-shocked.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty fair way to put it. It's I agree with the MVP thing too. Like Oraces was all game 1. Like it was all him. It was literally Oraces V9. We said it in between games. I'm still saying it now. Game 2, big impact. Good job, Oraces.
One last thing though, I don't want to discredit. I think Omli had a very good game too. I mean, he solo killed Robbie Bob level 2. He played well, and even Johnster. He had a good game too. I was a little bit disappointed after game 1, but I mean, I thought, Blacklist, they brought it back together towards the end of game 2, and I was decently impressed by their top side. So good on them.
Well, there you have it, gentlemen. Prussia was decently impressed by you, and if that isn't the highest compliment, then I don't know what is. Now, with that all being said, I do want to thank our casters and our producers for the day. Prussian, thank you as always for coming on, man. It is never not a pleasure. And I know I had a fantastic time beat down Boulevard. Pretty sure I was being by my side. It's great times, man, as always. And thank you all for watching as well. We will have more UPL for you tomorrow, I believe. But until then, y'all stay safe. Take care. Peace.